Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to Goa, where the first move today took me by surprise. I was just sitting here, chilling out, reading about Goa, and suddenly we've got moves. I thought it might be cool one of these days to take a quick look at some pictures of Goa together. So let's take a second to do that, and then I'll tell you in a moment. We'll turn off the eval bar on these pictures for a moment. These pictures look almost fake with their colors. Are these photos doctored? I mean, wow. The blues of the water, the greens of the trees. Full digital nomad guide to Goa. Cows on the beach. See this one here? Seems like almost every picture is of this particular promontory, no? Yeah, these pictures don't look that real. Maybe some pictures with people will be more real. Why Goa is looking to go upmarket and banish Brits. Interesting article. Must be about tourism. Well, it's all pictures of the beach. Here's something a little different. Cool. Okay, they're playing fast. Let's watch the games. I've got some things to tell you all about Goa today. Hey, Yellow. Hey, Rayon Gamer. But let's check. Is it this game that's played so many moves? No, it's just making loud clicks. 4 knights. Huh. This was played by Alcantara Yaspam a couple days ago, and led to a quick draw. He had this crazy game which went something like here and here and here and here and here, something like this. How did that game go? It was so crazy. Played d5 at some point, takes, f3. Where did the knight go? Was the knight here? Maybe the knight was here. I don't remember it. So, knight d4, e d4, e5, queen f6, pawn takes c3. Here, White's got a little development lead starting, with this bishop slow to come out. Black could potentially go queen e5 check, forcing either a queen trade or a retreat. Their game, Yakubayev and Sindarov yesterday, was not super eventful. Petrov by Wei Yi. Yeah, he's one of the people who's been playing a fair amount of Petrov. It is part of the modern Chinese tradition. A lot of their top players since they first started having, 2,700 level players. A lot of them have played Petrov. Wang Yue was one. He may be the first Chinese player to cross 2,700s. I don't know for sure if that's true or not, but Wang Yue, about 15 years ago or so, was a top Chinese player. And he played the Petrov all the time. Why play the Petrov? Well, when they're black, a lot of professional players would be happy to get a draw. As Penko plays this knight c3 line. I've seen some top GMs just playing knight f6 now instead of trading, saying, hey, taking on c3 is losing a tempo just the same as far as white's development, so I'll just give a tempo by retreating. Okay, but this line Esipenko's playing is based on castling queenside, so we'll see how it goes. Obviously, it's been studied by now. It's been around as a line for white for a while. Looks like they might slow down for a moment, and I could tell you all what I learned about Goa this morning. Bishop c5 played, threatening mate. White dodges it. Nice. Similar pawn structure to this one here, but an extra knight trade and kings both going to the king side. So this position is going to be less exciting, I would guess, than the Petrov. Not what you expected to hear when you woke up today, but real quick, let's just resume the action and the situation in the tournament for anybody who hasn't been following, or for anybody who wasn't here yesterday. The World Cup started on November 1st in Goa, India. It's been going for 22 days or so, with only one or two rests, with only 2 official rest days. So it's a really long tournament. We started with, 160 players or so. Morning, Patrick. And now we're down to 4 players. We're playing the semifinals here. There will also be a finals between these same 4 players. The 2 winners will play like the finals, and the 2 losers of the semifinals will play a 3rd place match, and that will start on Monday, I believe. If today is Saturday, hard to be sure. So we're into the semifinal round of this tournament. They've been going for 25 days. What else? It's best of 2 matches. So today we're seeing the second game of the semifinals, and you can see the scores below me show that yesterday the 2 matches started with draws. So if anybody wins the game today, that will immediately decide the match. If any games are drawn today, that will go to tiebreakers. The 2-game match will be tied, and they'll have to play a semifinal. Sorry, they'll have to play a tiebreaker if the match is tied. Tiebreakers would be tomorrow. It'll start with 2 games of 15-minute chess. Again, if anyone scores 1.5 or 2 points out of 2, they win the match. If they score 1-1, they go to the next tiebreak, and the next tiebreak, and the next tiebreak. And the time control gets shorter, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, something like that, with a little increment before eventually an Armageddon game. So that's the setup. Esipenko's got white today. Wei Yi is the last player of the top 10 in the world still in this event. He beat Arjun Erigaisi, an even higher rated player, in the rapid tie breaks 2 days ago in the quarterfinals. So he's the highest rated player remaining. 3 of these 4 players are going to be in the FIDE candidates tournament. Sindarov also over 2,700. Yakubayev just joined him as the 3rd Uzbek player at 2,700, off of his good showing this tournament. So, we've got two Uzbeks. One of them for sure will go to the finals, and the candidates, the losers will compete for a third candidate spot in the third place match, which will be a big deal in a couple days. Third place match. Let's bring in Mr. Kraai. Mr. Kraai, the Grandmaster. I am doing all right. I did struggle a tiny bit to get out of my bed.
Uh-huh.
It was really welcoming, comforting today. I haven't been sleeping well during the day. I try to take these naps to make up
Hmm.
for not sleeping at night, and half the time I just lie there resting awake, or maybe even more than half the time. But I figure it's better than nothing, so I lie there.
Cool. Yeah, I hear you. Isn't it kind of weird? Like sometimes the bed can just be a hateful place, and then other times it's like, oh, stay here with me.
Yeah, yeah. I'm loving mine right now. Um, yep, I see you over there. Um, you made it in time for my Goa facts for today.
Oh, good. That's my favorite
Yeah,
part of the day.
yeah. Uh, only problem is my voice is on the frets. Okay, so it's been established on previous days that Goa has sort of the highest GDP per capita of any Indian state. It's fairly affluent, right? But
Okay.
and we've sort of guessed or assumed or whatever that the main industry was tourism,
Hmm.
which is true, as it seems, with all the pictures of the beaches and the hotels and all that. So
Yeah.
it is a tourist destination, both for people internationally and domestically, right? But today, what I was reading about was a little bit more about the economy and their second biggest economic industry, and that is mining. That is the second biggest
Okay.
economic
Yeah.
industry in the state of Goa. They produce about 40% of India's iron ore export, which is a lot because geographically it's a very small state, right? It's
Mhm.
the I think the second smallest state by population and smallest by land mass, or the other way around. But basically, it's one of the very very smallest states in all of India. But yeah, big mining center, iron ore, and then relatively speaking, the agricultural industry has been shrinking as a percentage of GDP as things like tourism and mining grow faster. But their number one crop is rice, unsurprisingly, and they also have uh, some fancy word for a breed of palm trees that I wasn't familiar with. Is the main crop, and cashews and coconuts. So uh, those are typical uh, tropical trees, right? So they've got that. The mining is damaging the economy as mining, sorry, is damaging the ecology, the environment,
Mhm.
as mining tends to do. So that's something to do responsibly or keep in check or whatever. But right now, it's one of the major sources of Goa's wealth. Any
Cool.
any questions? Anything?
Hey,
Any other information that I should have gathered?
that's pretty good, man. That's pretty good. I was doing weird Earth facts, not Earth, but it wasn't necessarily weird. Um, Kids want to do Earth facts yesterday, and kind of I knew about it, and then we dug into it. Like there's this, the Earth is so weird, but bro. So at the middle of the Earth is this iron core.
Hmm.
Pressure down there is so intense that it can't melt. So like it's so in the pressure, due to the pressure, it can't melt. Around it, there's some melted stuff, but the middle, it's like 720 miles of iron pressed really hardcore together. And this iron is why we have the magnetic field. And without the magnetic field, we'd be toast. We'd be toast because the particles from the sun would just annihilate us too.
Magnetic field is like pushing away those particles as they.
It like traps them. So when you see the northern lights, what you're seeing are those particles engaging with our Earth's like, magnetic field,
Wow.
which is one of the reasons you're probably not going to find life that commonly in the universe is usually the particles that the big bad boy particles from the sun and other planets,
Hmm.
other stars will just destroy you.
Hmm. That makes sense. You have to be really careful around stars. Like even just temperature wise, we're sort of at a perfect distance to warm our toes without just melting our faces.
Um,
Hmm. Sumit
how
tells
how
us
how?
Sumit
Oh yeah.
tells us that there's a growing liquor industry in Goa where they make local liquor out of cashews and coconuts, which are among those top four crops that I mentioned.
Okay, there you go. Oh, dude, we have two identical openings.
Almost. One is a four knights and one is a Petrov, but they each have this d takes c3 pawn structure. The four knights game has all four knights traded, and the Petrov only has one knight traded.
Yeah. Well, the Uzbek battle definitely looks pretty tame.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this other knight c3 Petrov has always struck me as very spicy.
Mm-hmm.
So did you stay till the end yesterday?
I did, yeah. There were surprisingly dramatic moves at the end of that game yesterday.
Oh, I saw it, dude. It was amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing. Bishop a6.
yeah.
Dang.
Bishop a6 and then Queen a4 looked like an only move as
Yeah.
well somehow, and
Yeah.
he it was a little hectic because Wei Yi only had 3 or 4 minutes, and he was like suddenly having to come up with some crazy moves. But when I computer checked it later in the day, everything they did was right.
Right, dude. I know. I
Won
know.
like everything.
Yeah. Well, I thought like a lot of these other players, I haven't had too much opportunity to watch Wei Yi, but the Bishop A6 resource, I thought that I was like, oh, that's why this guy's 2750, right? Like that's most people aren't gonna find that, bro. And I think he kind of had to see it from a distance. I don't think it was just like I'm seeing it on this move. I'm like, I'm seeing it coming.
100% for sure he saw it when he put his queen on e4, right? Because that was not the most obvious piece to recapture on e4 with. So
Right.
probably when he played e4, he already had seen the bishop a6 resource, which is a little bit mind-boggling. But
Yeah. So at least this in this match, Esipenko's getting a couple points by drawing Wei Yi.
yeah, because I would say this about the bishop a6 resource: it doesn't knock black out because they don't have to take it, right? Like they could play a
Mm.
move like queen f5 and trade into the endgame. So even if you see bishop a6, it's not clear to me immediately if it's good enough.
Okay.
And you're also playing into a position where it has to be good enough. So to me, it's like if you see the bishop a6 resource, you almost have to look further ahead to evaluate, does this thing work or not? Like, is this thing going to save my skin, or am I going to be stuck in a position where my only move is bishop a6 and it's not good enough? So I think he had to look pretty far ahead.
Let's consider Yellow's opinion here, his unpopular opinion, David.
Mm-hmm.
So, by the looks of it, three out of the four of these people are going to be in, and then yeah, we basically have the candidates are now set because three out of the four of these people are in.
Yeah,
Blue Baum's in,
yeah.
and so that's going to constitute the randos. Anish is in, and then it's going to be Naka, Fabi, and Prague.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the old money would say that it's mostly a battle with Naka, Fabi, and Prague. That's what the old money would
Mm-hmm.
say. But Yellow's opinion is that the randos are going to make it much spicier and will have some kind of chance. Now, I want to say I want to differentiate the rando tiers because Sindarov and Wei Yi, I think, are legitimately playing probably 2750 strength or maybe even higher for Wei Yi. So, they're not, it's not like they're a boss off level. That's like, you know,
Yeah.
that's a different level. Whereas we are going to have then a whole bottom tier of players who are below 2700.
Potentially we could have potentially we could have three players under 2700 max.
So Esipenko,
Mm-hmm.
Blue Baum,
Mm-hmm.
um,
And
yeah,
Yakubayev if
Kubo.
he loses 3 points in the next 4 months instead of continuing to go up.
Right. Wait, does that mean that Kubiak broke the 2700 barrier?
He did, yeah.
Okay, that's fun.
But yeah, you could have up to three players under 2700. That would be quite a lot, and it would constitute a separate tier. So you'd have three players who would be in one tier, right? Naka, Fabi, and Prague. Then you'd have two players in sort of a middle tier, potentially, with, Wei Yi and Sindarov. Or maybe Wei Yi and Giri, or Sindarov and Giri, somewhere there. And then you could have some players under 2700. So you could have three different tiers. Now, what I would say is if it were the Sinkfield Cup or something like that,
Yeah.
the presence of those players would actually make the Sinkfield Cup more interesting than normal. And that I would agree with Yellow, that having a little bit of a variety of players and some different names, some people who haven't played each other 10 times yet for 10 or 15 years, some new blood, some younger players who still believe they can win these tournaments, who still believe it's possible to win games instead of just agreeing to draws, could shake up a super tournament like that and make it a little bit more fun to watch for spectators. But for the candidates, having a bunch of people who can't win the tournament, I don't think that makes the candidates better. I think it's a different kind of tournament.
Yeah. Now, I will say it's definitely bad. Really, it's the missing people that make it a terrible tournament. Because if Keimer's four in the world and Eric Geisy's right next to him, those guys have to be there, to my mind. But to what extent does it mess with the tournament that you have these lowers in there? The first thing that comes to mind, first, is when we watched that game where uh Gukesh plays H6 in the Nimzo Indian that turns out like it horrified us, but turns out is actually one of the computer moves. Um, but he's playing to win as black.
Mm-hmm.
And he wouldn't play that way against somebody who was, higher rated, and him winning those two games against the Bossov is was huge for making it.
Yeah.
So it's like the ability to of these lowers to get whacked, which they're not always going to get whacked,
Mm-hmm.
right? But like Gukesh winning 2-0 against the Bossov, that was like, oh, somebody else might get nicked for a draw or two with the Bossov level.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Does it ruin the tournament in that sense?
I don't know about
It's more like
I don't know about ruin. I don't think.
I wouldn't say ruin,
Yeah.
but it can really damage it, and it damages the reputation of the tournament too, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think another question around the presence of some outsiders this year has to do with how they approach the tournament, right? Like Yellow's saying that they're going to be ambitious, which is popular, right? Which is possible, but they might also not be ambitious. Sometimes the ambition of a lower rated player is just to get to 2,700 by drawing a few higher rated players and stealing their rating points little by little.
Well, and also like when you are, let's say you're a runner and you're going to compete with the top runners in the world. Of course, you're going to show up on race day and be like, I can do this, man. I can do this. But by like mile 11, you might realize, bud, you might realize that you're not in the same, you're
Yeah,
not ready to pace these people,
yeah,
you know? And then it's just like, oh, it's time to give up. It's time to lay down.
yeah. So to me, I think it's very important and a big question whether or not they'll really try to win the tournament or just have a good showing and gain 5 rating points. Clutch easily says there's no way they would not play ambitiously because it's their only chance. But we saw with Abasa that he never tried to win a single game. So,
I don't think it wasn't like he didn't try. It was just like, you get outclassed, dude.
mhm.
You just get outclassed, and then what are you supposed to do?
No, but I mean, he was trying to draw versus trying to win.
I mean, also think about the way Esipenko just plays chess in general. He likes to play super solid and sit and hope his opponents make a mistake. Yesterday was another great example of that, where, he wasn't really, he's playing good chess, but he was mostly just sitting on his position. And yeah, that's, you, it's not going to work for you, but you might draw all your games. It might be good. You might be able to draw all your games. But it's totally possible that we'll have somebody break out. And if I was to guess of the lower tiers who could break out, I could imagine Sindarov breaking out for sure.
Hmm.
That kid's amazing.
Yeah, and he could be better in a few months. Is another important thing to
Yeah.
realize.
So I haven't looked at the theory of this knight c3 stuff in a long time. I think this is a great line to show to kids because it's so simple to understand, you know? Like on move 6, you either put the bishop on f4 or e3, play queen d2, castle long, then start marching your business, you know? Very simple to play. And in this game position, we have the ambitious knight g5 and the unambitious king b1 are the main moves here. Some people have played h4 too. Um, my sense is that knight g5, bishop a2 isn't going to work, so that we're going to see knight g5 from Esipenko. He's a lover of the bishops. We've seen this already.
Hmm.
But he is thinking about it.
So with Wei Yi's move order, it looks to me like he might be wanting to castle queenside instead of kingside
Hmm.
to avoid ye old kingside attack, and keep the game a little simpler. After 13 minutes of consideration, Esipenko plays a calm little move, bishop e2.
What? Bishop E2?
Bishop e2, yeah.
That looks like a terrible move to me. So, okay, case in point. This is another time where he's just playing to hold the position. There's not, there's no ambition with Bishop E2, David. We're going to tie breaks.
Maybe, maybe he's trying to play g4.
No, buddy. Bishop. By the way, Bishop E2, I'm looking at the database.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody strong has done this. And it also doesn't make this one, I think, is just playing to play Rook HE1 and sit. We're not doing anything here. Very disappointing.
So this move has never been played by a top player.
So imagine the position's very common.
Mm-hmm.
So Dojo database says we got hundreds of games. King B1, Knight G5. Knight G5 understandably scores better. I think that's got to be the right move. H4 is next, and then you have a bunch of random moves. Bishop E2 is number 8 on the list.
Aye, aye, aye.
But it also just doesn't, let me just describe it. It doesn't make any sense because if the guy castles kingside, then there's no point. Then we might want the bishop on D3. And we are also not in a rush to move the bishop because we'll probably do some kind of H4 stuff. So it doesn't make any sense. There's no direct necessity to get the bishop moved. The only reason to put the bishop on E2 would be to bring your rook to E1.
Mm-hmm.
Later, I think you could play knight D4 and bishop F3, but that's not obviously gonna hurt black in any significant way either.
Yeah, I was wondering about knight d4. I've seen that move once or twice. I think normally black trades on d4 in response. It doesn't leave
Yeah,
something
I'm sure.
special.
Nothing special. Um, and I was thinking about, I mean, I think we were both a little depressed about it, but what are we looking at? We're looking at a situation where highly likely both of these games are going to go to tie breaks tomorrow.
Okay.
And then we're going to be battling over this sad who gets the fourth place question.
Who gets the fourth question? Yeah. It's like a game show where people get eliminated one at a time now.
Kaylin, I think Bishop A2 definitely is, you can think about it. But in general, one of the nice things about this opening for white is that the double pawns on C3 make most counterplay against white's king more difficult. And bishop A2 is a case in point where we're going to play B3, king B2, king A2 pretty quickly. And it's not easy for the black pieces to actually go talk to my coconuts over there. You can also play rook A1 there too, Mr. Pruess. You don't have to play king takes bishop.
There is this funky move that I don't really believe here, knight b4. In general, it feels like black's about to be down a piece.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, I think, Foos just is saying his reputation. I'm sure he's played some great games in his life. Um, and and we could also say that he has created this strategy specifically for this tournament. So like imagine he gets a consult call with Grishuk and Grishuk is like, listen, let me tell you how to play the first two games for draws, and then we play for a win. And that's the way we win this thing, is by winning the rapid. Maybe. That's a pretty good story anyway.
I've found some really fancy situations here, Jesse.
You're very fancy,
I'm
yeah.
just playing around, in the sandbox, making
Hmm.
some moves to show folks partly that whether or not a bishop a2 move works out can take 10 plus moves of calculation. Sometimes the players probably just assume based on instinct that it will or won't work. I don't know that they're going to invest this kind of calculational energy in a little pawn in a2. They just kind of get a sense quickly if it's likely or not likely.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's completely implausible.
Mm-hmm. Bishop f6, gf6, bishop b5.
I really find this move disappointing, David. Bishop E2. I
Yeah.
really find it disappointing because, like, the position before Bishop E2 is very interesting. Like, Knight G5. Well, yeah, sure, you can calculate Bishop A2, and you can then, we're going to probably steal a bishop, and we're going to go on. It'll be an interesting, probably opposite sides castling position. Great. Great. How interesting.
My
How
data
fun.
my database said against knight g5 you can play bishop f5
Yeah.
to
Yeah, you
not
can.
give the bishop pair immediately.
You totally can. Um, there, yeah, it's been played, of course, a bunch. Bishop takes G5 is the most common move, but you can also play Bishop F5. Of course, there's some risks involved with Bishop F5
Mm-hmm.
because now, like we were talking about the bishop on F1, not knowing where to go after Bishop F5. Well, then we kind of have a nice idea with Bishop C4, and we know where we at least know where that bishop's going.
Yeah, and maybe keep the black king from getting to the queen side and calming things down.
Yeah.
um, yeah, I apologize folks for not finding the obvious win for white that we expected in those bishop takes a2 lines. um, Obviously I got all my variations wrong, but that can happen. I mean, do you think Wei Yi would spend much time on bishop takes a2? No. He'll just believe.
Honestly, I'm pretty sure what he knows is he knows that, like, think about it. If you were going to do it, then Knight G5, it would be probably more compelling on Knight
Knight
G5.
g5 basically wouldn't even be a move if black could take on a2.
Right.
So he basically knows not to even look at it.
I think his main question here is, do we castle short or do we castle long?
Right. If you castle long, white can take the bishop pair belatedly with knight g5. You don't have bishop f5 anymore.
Good point. Yeah. That's why some people have played H6 uh, instead.
Mm-hmm. But then let's say I go rook he1, castles queenside. Now I've got this move knight d4 to try and pluck your bishop pair from there.
Yeah, he's gonna take it.
Because knight d4 queen takes, double attack and a little pawn grab. Mm,
Mhm.
mm, mm.
Well, yeah, that's true. So in
So
that final position, Mr. Pruess, you just put that back.
yeah, I can.
There's queen a4 at the end of all that.
Ay, ay, ay. My little a2.
And the f4 bishop. So normally you'd play a3, but here your bishop's hanging.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I don't think I can fix this. I can throw in the move bishop e3 to not having the hanging bishop, but then black can play rook g8 to g2, I think, because I can't trap it. So if I do this, c5, queen g7, now black can maybe take here, or just trap me, because I don't have this square.
Oh yeah, you're trapped, bruv.
That's the end of my line.
Do you feel any desire to walk through yesterday's game with the computer?
Between these two,
Yeah,
I already did.
I know. I know.
Oh.
Did you do a deep dive on it? I mean, there was a couple positions I was
Did I
I
do a
remember.
deep dive? I mean, I was using this, chess.com web engine,
Yeah.
which is pulling its computing power from my feeble computer when I'm looking at it in my browser.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if it counted as a deep dive, but I
I
went
didn't
through some
mean
stuff and
I didn't mean like that. I mean like if you use a slightly weak version, what do you have a 3700 computer versus a 3500 computer or
yeah,
whatever, it's
yeah,
still like okay. No, I meant more just like trying to understand why the computer wanted certain moves, that
yeah.
kind
I
of thing.
think I understood what was going on with the computer's help, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see what the Uzbeks are up to real quick here. C6, Queen H5. Wow, 25-minute think from Sindarov. So they're not just going through the motions.
Yeah, so if D5 he can play just hoping for queen D5.
Uh-huh. Boom, ye old self fork. Well, hello, Queen H5. Um, I was a little surprised by C6. I thought black would just castle and then play C6 once the king was off of E8. C6. Thought about it a while. Queen H5. Thought about it forever. If white had played rook e1 check, Jesse, was black's point to play king d8
Good question.
instead of blocking, right? And then saying your bishop's attacked and I'm threatening bishop f2.
I'm gonna pull this one up on the database too. I remember that was a game where Onishuk was at the U.S. Championship 2004, and somebody played Bishop E5 against him. It turned into a draw, and then he was just complaining bitterly. It was like a 2400 did this to him, and he was like, "This isn't fair. This is why these chumps don't belong in the tournament." Yeah, we were just talking about
Mm-hmm.
like the Cinderella, these people who are going to play in the candidates. A similar thing was like Onishuk raging because some 2400 played this variation and it petered into a draw, which I didn't even understand. Like why it seems like there's a lot of play still
Yeah.
actually in a lot of these. Anyways, so um, all right, this position with D takes C3 is very common. I am completely ignorant of how this variation works.
Mm-hmm.
Queen E5 check is the most common. Makes sense, I guess,
Yeah.
instead of Bishop C5. We've actually seen, I think, that Nordebek Jr., though I guess he needs to be called Nordebek Sr. if he gets one of these 3 out of 4 spots, he is very well prepared. I mean, there was this game and then, well, not just this game is that impressive, but that game where he had the fried liver hectic analysis
Mm-hmm.
against Ali Reza.
Oh yeah, that was definitely intense. That one.
Okay, so C6 has only been played 2 times, and it is a weird move because you're allowing rook e1. Because you can say to yourself, well, why don't I just castle, bruv? Why don't I just castle instead of playing c6?
Yeah.
So yeah, actually, let's just say, Mr. Pruess, on rook e1 looks like a blunder because I can go to f8 or d8, and then I'm just winning. I'm winning something.
Mm-hmm. So that was Black's concept.
And if queen e2, then I'll just play queen e7.
That was Black's concept. A little bit risky. Instead of castling, they set this quote-unquote trap that you can't yet rook e1 them. But nobody likes to get rook e1 checked. I mean, Jester, I would hardly even look at move other than castling for Black. So now he goes for this thing with c6, and then White doesn't just, trust him with bishop a4 or something. White goes deep and comes up with queen h5. And now he's saying, depending on how you back it up, you could get in trouble because you could still get rook e1. You could get bishop g5. And Kalen said after d5, queen d5, bishop e7 aren't both hanging. Well, not exactly. The queen's technically not hanging because of the bishop being on the diagonal with this pawn. So White could extricate the pieces probably with bishop a4. And if you play b5, the bishop can just go back to b5 because now there's the rook on a8.
Well, here's my question, Mr. Pruess. It looks, by the way, from the timestamp where Nordebek Jr. taught for 9 minutes on c6 that he was not doing a bookie wookie thing. And then that's when we got this epic thing with queen h5. So what I'm confused about, though, and I need help with, is what is the intention of c6? Like, how is it better to play c6 on move 9 instead of castling and then playing c6?
Right, like what's the advantage or the impetus?
So, for example, on castles, one of the main moves in the database makes sense to me is to play bishop d3.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, I get it, Mr. Pruess. I get c6 now. Okay, here's the point. So, if you castle,
Mm-hmm.
then we can play either queen h5 or bishop d3, and you can't easily achieve c6 d5.
Okay, so if c6, you're going to play queen h5, double attack.
Yeah.
Let's
d5, similar.
Let's
yeah.
say I play bishop b6.
Bishop b6, right. And by the way, all this means is that instead of achieving c6, d5, you're going to play d6, which seems totally fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Seems totally fine. So, but in the game, what Black is going to get, or is dreaming of getting, is that if instead of queen h5, White had played the normal bishop d3, then we're going to play d5. And now we're saying, I'm in no hurry to castle. I can always play bishop e6. And I've got a much more robust center.
Huh. And almost saying if you play rook e1, bishop e6, you're just going to have to do some kind of weak tribute move to deal with f2. And Black will be very, very comfortable. So it's pretty aggressive intention from Black to get all that. And White tries to cross him up with queen h5. And what are Black's candidate moves here? I feel like d5 didn't look like it was working. Can we just drop back with bishop b6?
That would be my first
Are
question.
we still fine there?
Let's think about that bishop b6 move.
I think we got to check rook e1 and make sure that the tactics are here or there.
Right. So then on rook e1, we cannot go to d8. We have to go to f8.
One square is now out.
So it certainly looks, though, that we... Oh, this could get really spicy, Mr. Bruce. Let's try Bishop G5 there. Yeah, you've already hovering your hand over
Yeah.
my too.
I mean, the other thing I'd been looking at was Bishop E3. I actually looked at before Bishop G5 for a moment, which is not terribly stupid looking, but Bishop G5 looks better.
This is cool. So this looks to me very scary for black. This looks very scary for black, but it's not over yet. So
Right.
let's think about this.
If Bishop F2,
Let's look at Bishop F2. Then you know
maybe
what? King F1.
maybe let's risk it all
King F1.
for
Yeah.
this biscuit here.
I think this is important because if we go H1 on Queen G6, it's hard to.
Yeah. Hard to prove what we got.
Actually, I don't know. That might also be winning, Mr. Bruce, because King H1, if Queen G6 or something, I'm playing Queen E2 and I'm saying, welcome to the dojo on the E file, and you better develop your pieces next time.
Yeah. Excuse me, folks.
I was going to calmly play Rook takes E1 to rub it in, but your move's better.
Oh yeah, I just I thought you were planning to end it all. Planning to end it all.
Okay, so Bishop G. So okay, let's try to get it inside the minds of these people. So he is now concerned with Bishop B6 because Bishop G5 looks like a hell of a drug.
Yeah.
So from a position that looked completely boring, we now have some spicy sauce. The more I look at it, it is very hard for me to see how black survives this thing.
Okay, so that was Bishop B6, which we could go back to if we don't come up with other candidate moves.
Now,
But
let me also just say that a Bishop G5, I think we could say maybe I am maybe I'm surviving with the lame Queen G6. Now my first thought here was that white would just be better because the H rook is out. But if you have to take, then my H rook gets out.
why shouldn't I play Queen E2 again, whether or not you took on F2?
Yeah, just Queen E2, but that's too powerful. That's too much. Okay, so that again is looking terrible for him.
Yeah, that's a bloodbath.
All
So,
right,
also,
yeah, go ahead.
Jesse, something that might make it even simpler is that against Bishop B6, we don't have to play Rook E1. We could play Bishop G5 as a setup with the Rook coming to E1 next move, potentially.
Okay, yeah.
And uh, the, then there's nothing on F2, and I don't know. It doesn't look like a real position for black.
This C6 move looked like a positionally it might have been a blunder, buddy. This might have really been a
Well,
problem.
let's make a list of candidate moves. So we're dealing with Queen H5. Okay, let's try Bishop E7.
Bishop E7. Okay.
Now I would be tempted to look at Rook E1 for white, but if you want, we can save the bishop on B5.
All right, so let's state the obvious. If that he did not want that bishop on E7.
Right, he spent
So
a
I'm going to
whole
say,
move putting it on C5. So this would already mean the opening was mildly scuffed.
right. So, all right, rook E1. And to my mind, castle short is probably forced.
Okay. Now I might need to save my bishop, huh?
Let's save your bishop with bishop D3. G6 looks forced.
You also maybe have H6, but...
And the wildness here is even this position, G6, Queen H6, D5, white might not have anything. Hard to believe, though. Come on. Like bishop E3 or bishop F4 in that position. That looks like something to me.
Threatening bishop E5. Oh, buddy. This is where black would play bishop D6, though.
Got it. Bishop D6. Now, worst case scenario, we have a better position because we have all kinds of juice with the bad bishop on c8. So like a default could be bishop d6 and then h4. But we'll probably find something better here.
I don't think you will. I think that's probably what you got is the trade in the
No,
edge
no,
pawn.
no. We'll play bishop g5, check to the miserable queen.
Okay.
Queen g7 looks forced.
Yeah.
Then we'll play queen h4 and we'll be like, bro, you didn't want
Ooh.
that.
Ooh, that is nicer. Oh la la.
Yeah, that's no good. So, yeah, we got to find something for black here. This looks nasty. Uh,
Uh-oh.
Grapsulagoy, d5. The question there is, what do you do after queen takes d5?
Yeah.
Let's try it out though. Maybe this is the main move that dude needed to calculate when he played queen h5. So I'll play queen takes d5. Let's try bishop e7, Mr. Pruess.
Okay.
So
Last time here I played bishop a4 for white.
that looks pretty good. Because here, one of the claims we can make as black, honestly, is even if I just castle here and you give me a tempo, maybe it's not so bad. Here, those double pawns don't look like they're so amazing.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay, but pawn is a pawn. I go queen a5. Just gotta keep it weird.
All right, Mr. Prince, let me do a jeu. So on queen takes d5, let's say I try to be more active as black and play bishop b6.
Bishop where?
b6.
b6?
B as in boy.
Bishop takes b5, Kapsu. Sorry, we covered that a few minutes before you got here. Okay, bishop b6 here. Bishop g5.
Yeah.
d6 was just played.
d6. Let's go look.
Defending the bishop. And against rook e1, there is bishop e6. So white quickly played bishop d3.
Okay, good. So 15 minutes on d6. And okay, and since he's not achieving d5, maybe it's not that big of a deal, but it looks to me like white's just simply achieved something basic
Mm-hmm.
in that white wants to play the bishop to d3 anyway,
Mm-hmm.
and we got you to commit to this c6 move.
Right. Also, at the moment, it looks like with h7 hanging, the basic idea for black would be to block the e-file with bishop e6 and castle queenside. Except the move bishop g5 seems to win in those cases.
Yeah, we got a real problem on our hands.
Bishop d3 has prevented a move like queen g6 to try and shut things down. Am I playing h6 here? That looks... The king on e8 is beyond worried. Here's a weird thing white could do against h6, Jesse. Just to emphasize how development plays in chess. We could play bishop e3 for white.
Oh, the C6 move. I just want to come back to something that's Bruce.
Yeah.
Okay. So my thought was, okay, he's playing C6. I was trying to figure out what it was all about, right? So C6, and if dude had just played 10 bishop D3, right? And black goes D5. Isn't black's position also nasty after queen H5?
Same issues, queen h5 and bishop g5, right?
Right. So like the pawn on D6 versus D5.
Doesn't make a big difference here. Either
I
way,
don't
it's
see
not
it
so good.
anyway right away. I'm not seeing it. Maybe now you could play the weird queen D6, though I really don't believe I don't want to do that.
Queen d6 here.
I'm just trying, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Just making sure I hear it right because, the position's looking. Yikes.
But what else am I supposed to do? I
I
don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd throw in b4 just to have some extra options over there.
I'm obliged to say before what?
Then maybe bishop e3 again. Bishop takes e3, rook a e1.
Uh-huh.
Bishop e6, rook e3, castle queenside.
But this is too intense because imagine like if you're Sindarov, you can see this position for easily,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't have to calculate for 25 minutes on queen h5.
Yeah.
Where and also as black, what are we doing with c6? It's like there's some darker point that we're not getting because the bishop, we all know the bishop doesn't want to be on b5. So
Right.
why are you helping him, encouraging him to go back to d3? It's basically like a loss of tempo.
Right. We're chasing the bishop where it wants to go while not castling. What is the reason?
All right, we have h6 on the board.
Okay. Let's see. Does this make my idea from before relevant? I think so. First of all, I guessed h6, right? Uh, Second of all, here was my idea, Jesse. We didn't really get into it, but bishop e3 against h6, since I can't go to g5 anymore, right? And I'm just trying to develop everybody. And now, if bishop e3, I was going to take with the f pawn, not rook a e1 in this position,
Hmm.
going after f7. And I
Hmm.
figured the black queen would move somewhere like e6 or e7, and I would just kablamo.
He's going to give us the kablamo, folks.
Yeah, I mean that's the end of the game. It's like forget talking about a 20 move game. It's not even making it to move 15.
Okay,
Bishop
we got to
e3
move.
played.
Now, as gross as it looks, maybe we need to play g6.
In response right here to
Yeah.
bishop e3. Yeah, that seems right. Queen's a little short on squares, huh? Rook a e1.
After g6.
Mm-hmm. I got to develop, I just got to develop.
Okay, that's clever.
Yeah,
Bishop e6.
bishop e6.
I guess kind of develop.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, I can't do anything. I don't have enough juice.
All right, this is good training for us, bruv. All right, so
Yeah.
bishop e3. We're thinking G6, man. I don't see another. So at least another candidate move isn't popping out to me.
Mm-hmm.
Pruess's dirty trick on F7 seems very real.
Yeah, I think you can't take on E3. It becomes very forced. And White's threatening to win a pawn on C5. So,
The bummer though with his bishop E3 move is if I knock you first in G6 and you go back to let's say E2 or something,
mm-hmm.
then I can trade, and then taking with the F pawn might not be so special.
Yes, taking with the F pawn was really just to play Rook F7. Here I would play Queen E3 check, and I don't yet know what I do about Queen E5, but maybe just Queen D2 is okay. Just keeping you from castling on H6.
Okay.
Actually, wait a minute, wait a minute. Oh, my killer instinct's just missing. You can kill people in endgames, right? Just trade the queen, play rook e1, take a pawn. Take a pawn, then take a bow.
Okay, Mr. Bruce, I think the boring way to play this though is on Queen E2. We have a move, I think. G6 played. Oh, I'm a GM today.
Mm-hmm.
Queen E2. Now, okay, critical question. I was thinking the really annoying one for white might be to play Queen E7 here.
Okay.
Oh, I have a plan for you there though. You could play Rook AE1
Yeah.
and if Bishop E3 like Queen F3 or something.
Yep. No problemos. Well, lots of problemos, just not for white.
There might be more to say on that, but let's look first at candidate moves for black here.
After Queen F3?
Well, just on Queen E2
Just on
because
Queen E2, okay. Yeah.
right, so we can play some move like Queen E7. We
Mm-hmm.
could even sit with a move like Bishop E6.
Mm-hmm. You could play King F8, King G7.
Right.
It's a correctamundo approach.
So David, is this eval bar for this game? Is
Yeah.
that what you have going there? Sure, I'll do it also like point 0.4 for me.
Okay. That's going to be
I
very
don't know
close to what I
yet.
put.
I don't know yet what the actual I don't even know what Black's best move is here, but I just know that we have a nice little initiative.
Yeah. I agree. Take some creativity to keep it going, because Black's always got some ideas to stay alive here. Like King F8 G7 looks pretty solid to me as a
Uh-huh.
candidate here, and White's going to need some sauce there.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's true. Let's focus on King F8 for a moment, Tito.
Okay. Give it a try.
All right, Mr. Bruce, I'm gonna take your Bishovsky.
Yep.
I'm gonna play Rook FE1. I thought about Rook AE1, but it made no sense to me.
Okay.
So I restrained myself
Yeah.
and I played Rook FE1.
All right. I'll play Bishop E6.
All right. And then my hope was that Bishop C4 would lead me to a little bit of something, something.
Okay. Looking to emphasize the D and E files before Black's rooks are fully equal. I'm just going to say that, folks. That's kind of like the word explanation of what Jesse's up to here.
I have a nice plan for you. If you could play King G7, Bishop E6, and a Rook to E8.
Queen C4 and a Peshki.
Good. Okay, we'll say advantage to white in that variation.
Jesse,
That one would
you're
be very hard to win, by the way. Really hard to win because that Pieszki is really not a full Pieszki. But yes,
yeah,
that
yeah. It's
white could end that variation and be like, well, I got the pawn.
well, it's point
That's
four.
something.
It's point four. Jesse, you're of a certain age. How did you like the band Depeche Mode?
Oh, Depeche Mode, dude, that great band.
Okay.
Great band. When I was a kid, I had a little bit of an attitude because, I thought they were too soft or something. But
Hmm.
especially through the years, dude, they've got the lyrics are hilarious and beautiful, and they had their own style.
Hmm.
Are you a fan of Depeche Mode?
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I remember I had a friend who was kind of a chess player, but one of those people who's a little bit in chess. Anyways, his older sister, this is in the days of cassettes, had a Depeche Mode album on a cassette, and I remember I was just blown away, dude. I was just like, God damn,
Yeah.
it's a totally new sound.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so Queen E2, King F8, trading on C5, Rook E1, Bishop E6, Bishop C4.
That's an advantage. That's what we call an advantage in chess right there.
Well, what if I start with Rook E8?
Okay.
I think what you're going to want to do is play very simple technical moves here, right, Jesse?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to make the trade on E6.
Make the trade.
And then you're going to go after the Peshki on C5, just like I did. Although here it's not tactical. But you're just saying, what about C5? What about E6? Right? If black trades on E1, it plays B6. Then maybe Queen A6 coming inside. And we see how that Rook on H8 is just lagging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably best in that position just to give me the C5 pawn.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's bad. That's a bad news.
Yeah.
Even after I win it, I have a little bit of initiative.
Yeah.
Okay, we have Queen E2, Bishop E3 played. All right.
Okay. So the idea could be Queen E3, King F8.
And let's
Right?
say Mr.
Similar?
Bruce is absolutely right that on Queen E5, we can, at the minimum, we have taking and going into an endgame with an advantage.
Yeah.
And on Queen E7, Queen F4 looks good because we're still talking to the H6 coconut. Um, and okay, let's focus on King F8 for a half a moment.
Patrick wondering, was C6 a blunder? Did Noterbeck miss Queen H5? I don't know. I mean, Queen H5 is in those positions, right? Like the main
Yeah,
moves for
we still
white are
have,
Bishop D3, Queen H5. So I don't know exactly what Noterbeck missed, but I don't know if I would call C6 a blunder. I mean, it was a move that looks like it was slightly wrong.
it looks like there's various classes of mistake. It looked like the mistake where you're like, buddy, you just lost the clean tempo. That's what it looks like to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because the other thing we have not figured out is after C6, the simple bishop D3 looks to also pose a lot of problems for black because Queen H5 is still coming. Okay, but in any case, here we are. Uh, we got bishop E3. Dude has not recaptured. Maybe he's away from the board. Yeah, he's away from the board. Oh, here he comes, Queen E3. And I like your move, King F8, though conceivably Bishop E6 is a move, right?
Mm-hmm.
The problem with Bishop E6 is you're still not threatening the castle.
I think the problem with Bishop E6 might be F4, F5 very quickly.
Hmm. Okay, now we got
Getting
King
juice on the F
F8.
file.
Oh no, he played Queen D4, bro.
In 4 seconds, the game's over. What? I'm gonna take away our eval bar from point 4 to 0 in one move.
He played that thing fast, bro. He played that so fast. I'm a little stunned here. I'm stunned at the speed and also,
Yeah.
and there's nothing after the queen trading because you just play king g7, bishop e6, and you're solid like a rock.
Yeah. This is like a draw offer, dude. This is like GM speak for I offer you a draw. When they play this move,
All right, Mr. Bruce, I know I feel exactly the same way, but let me try to defend White's honor.
mm-hmm.
All right, you play black, bruv. You have both king g7 and queen d4.
I'll play king g7. I don't even need to take on d4, right? What do I care? Oh, moves coming in fast. Rookie 1.
Seven rookie one.
All right, maybe now I need to trade. And then bishop e6.
Or king f6, I guess, you know. Huh. So one of the things, okay, so to me, the move queen d4 played so quickly, it suggests a general mindset that you're going into this thing and you're like, I want to go to tie breaks. Kind of like when Magnus against Fabi in the last great game had a nice position and he's like, nope, I'm going to tie breaks. Nope, we're going to the rapid tie breaks, buddy.
But none of these people, like, I mean, they can't both feel like they are 200-point favorites in rapid chess, right?
Well, it's White who's making the decision here.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, that was bizarre, man. That was bizarre. It's really a problem for the fans here, Mr. Bruce. It is very much a problem. Let me just say I love coming and doing these games with you. It's great to chat.
Yeah.
But dude, but dude,
But dude, we want to
it's
see
not
like a
like the
little bit of sauce. Come on.
it's also the previous rounds we like had like the Yospams and the Sams and there was great storylines. I don't know what the storyline here is,
Yeah.
you know?
The storyline is this is professional chess, just fighting over
Is it prof
crumbs.
is it professional jazz? Okay.
All right, Jesse, I don't think we even need to watch these motions anymore, honestly.
All right, we'll go back to the other game.
Yeah.
Let's go to the other game
I
and
agree,
we'll catch
Shirogorov.
up
I'm
on it.
trying to say sort of the same thing. Like, Magnus was, you know, way, way, way ahead in Rapid. And these guys are pretty close in Rapid. So it's not, it's just choosing not to play, basically. Jesse, we got the bishop e2. We got to see the idea. The idea was castles, queenside, knight g5, and you can't avoid the bishop pair. So you were right that Esipenko was happy to take the bishop pair once again. Do you think he's got any advantage in this position?
So let's see, bishop e2, castles, snip, snap, f6, h5, interesting move. And now the inevitable b3, queen f7. Okay, I first want to admit there's a couple moves here, especially queen f7. I'm not sure I understand. I'm not sure I understand h5 either.
My first guess is a tiny advantage for white here, just based on the bishop pair.
What do you feel is the motivation behind h5 and queen f7? I think the rest I can kind of get behind.
It's a defensive formation to keep white from just grabbing space eventually on the king side themselves. Because essentially what happens at some point, like say you've got the bishop pair, right? We could go back to the position after bishop g5, f6, bishop e3. when you got the bishop pair like this, how does white eventually, make progress in a position like this, right? Well, eventually, they grab space on both sides of the board, They try to play h4, h5, and a4, a5, and f4, g4. Then eventually they engage you with g5. And then their bishops are hitting both sides, so black's setting up a kingside formation so that white won't be able to grab a bunch of space there. Queen on f7 overprotects the h-pawn, so you could use your rooks on e8 as needed.
Let me tell you why I like the white position here. It's not just the bishops. It's also, I feel long term, our king is better. Like it's going to be nestled on b2, which is also the color of our unopposed bishop. And the black king, it's not like an immediate danger, but like long term, it just has more problems than we do. And so that in combination with the bishops, which I agree, like you could make an argument, black saying, I'll be able to blockade this bad boy. But long term, I don't like it for black for the good. And there's two reasons, the board opening up and then the king later having some grief. You know. So like if I was white, I think I have a lot of nice building moves here. Rook he1, of course, comes to mind. King b2 at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, the argument for black, on the other hand, has to be to say, because I've first of all done this little weird thing on the king side, and because your pawns on the queen side aren't especially mobile, because of all that, I'm going to be able to keep this game in lockdown mode.
Right. Like you don't have great expansions or pawn breaks available.
I mean, yeah, if I was white, it would be like rook he1, bishop f1, f3, bishop f2. Just get those bad boys out of the way, and then we can just. The white has so many nice building moves that they can make here. Now, arguably, Wei Yi doesn't care. He's seen this kind of thing before. Yeah, go ahead, make your building moves, bro. What do you got?
He is a professional Petrov player.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got Sitzfleisch up the wazoo.
Okay.
Yeah, Sam, I've not only heard of Jan Christoph Duda, I've heard of every single chess player in the top 100 in the world. Maybe in the top 500. But you're the first person to see a resemblance there.
Oh, he's saying you look a little bit like the Duda.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah, if of these four, it's Wei Yi who gets knocked out. Holy moly.
Yeah.
Holy moly. Well, Mr. Pruess, I think I'm just saying I haven't made a full decision, but I know tomorrow you're not going to get up for the tie breaks. I don't know if I am either, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I might even be up. One thing that's interesting about this tournament is it's really turned me into a true old man where I'm getting up, 4:30 every morning. And I kind of like it. I kind of like because you get up before the kids and you can do like your life has the ability to do all kinds of things in life. They just officially agreed to their chump draw.
Okay.
Okay, let's do this though, Mr. Pruess. Let's go look at what the computer says about that game. We're allowed to do that.
All right.
We especially want I want to understand. Okay, these are my questions going in. I want to understand C6, and I want to understand if I'm right that white was actually better in the position before Queen D4.
Okay.
Right, so those are my questions.
So I'll turn on
How about we
this
start on
my
move
engine, which is
9?
not particularly
Yeah.
strong. And let's put castles on the board. My computer likes castles for black just fine. It doesn't see any
Yeah, mine too.
reason not to castle.
Yeah. It's even playing Queen D2, Queen F4, which is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. Now
Okay.
C6, it doesn't get too excited.
Doesn't get too excited. Okay. And on Queen H5, it is indeed playing D5. And it doesn't even want Queen takes D5.
Let's check
All
the
right,
Queen
so wait,
D5
let's try to
position.
understand that. So D5, Queen
Bishop
takes
E7,
D5,
Bishop
Bishop
A4, and then the move A5.
A5, bro. A5.
Yeah,
That's cold.
I did not plan for that.
That's cold. Huh. So it's almost like if C6 was an amazing move, it would have been but the computers also seems fine with D6 though. Yeah. All right. So D6,
Looks like
Bishop
for
E3,
all their skill, they may not have seen the move A5, these guys. Yeah, A5 is
H.
equality. In fact, black is mildly preferred.
And after Bishop E3, the computer actually says black is a touch better after G6.
So black's totally fine. Totally fine here, huh?
Totally fine, bro. And he's saying on if like there's it's just got chump moves instead of Queen D4. Wow. Well,
Okay.
not unsurprising. I
So,
guess we have to say we're wrong.
yeah, definitely. Last thing I would have maybe tried here would have been F4, King G7, F5, and I wasn't 100% sure that this GF5 position would be great for me, but the computer agrees it is. So the option is G5, right?
Fine, yeah.
Saying I'm on the wrong color squares, but I'm trying to say this bishop is stuck on C8. I guess D7 is enough just to let the rooks get coordinated.
Yeah, and he gets the E5 square then.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Rooks, E5, and easy enough play for black. So, So it was dead. It was dead.
And I think also you could say that the whole opening choice was already aiming just to go to tie breaks.
Wow. Except then they like went deep into like, wait a minute, what's going on with C6 Queen H5? You know, they put a lot
Yeah.
of thought into it, and then I guess they decided, yeah, we both figured it out. Dang. Okay, so again, perfect play, more or less, right? Players are incredibly good.
Yeah, arguably you could have I think perfect play would have been 10 D5 from black. Even
Mm-hmm.
then the computer's totally fine with D6, but especially from a practical point of view, if you're going to play C6, then it would be cool if you've like perfection would be playing D5.
Mm-hmm. Well, at least we learned something.
Yeah.
It was really evaluation where we were wrong because we could find all black's moves. You know, H6, G6, King F8. We just assumed black was in some trouble.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of talk about how chess is now played move by move instead of with big plans, right, Jesse?
Uh-huh.
A lot of talk about that. But I feel like this might be a planned moment for Asipenko, right? Why is he dawdling for 10 or 15 minutes on this move? Not because he's looking at calculating some little move by move stuff, right? He's trying to think, what's my plan, right? Like in the old days.
I think well, I don't know if I'd call it a plan, but I feel like White should do a series of improving moves. So I really like my rook HE1, bishop F1, F3, bishop F2 idea.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing we can say as a plan is that long term, I probably want to put most of my pawns on the light squares.
Mm-hmm. As he started with B3.
I started, and then later, even King B2, and then probably A4 at some point. I'll
Mm-hmm.
play to ask Black if he's worried at all about advancing coconuts. And okay, I think also if maybe if you're gonna go deep on it, you'd say, okay, Cry, that's fine, but what is Black gonna do? And I don't know. I don't know exactamundo what he's gonna do.
Black's going to sit. Their position can't really be improved.
Well, I think a question would be like, well, Cry, if you're gonna do that, maybe I will. I first of all want to improve the knight. Bishop B5 play.
Threat to the A pawn. Perhaps. Perhaps. At minimum, a very small threat to the structure.
Okay, we'll give him credit for that move.
Caitlin gave the following variation: Bishop B5, Bishop D7, Bishop C4, Bishop E6, Bishop B5, draw agreed. And to be clear, gave that variation 7 minutes ago before Bishop B5 was played.
I think we can make an argument that um, on Bishop D7, I'll just play Rook HE1, and I'll continue my boring Cry plan, and it hasn't really changed much
Mm-hmm.
with the inclusion of Bishop B5, Bishop D7. But even if it hasn't changed much, Bishop B5 is still a better move on a practical level than my move because this will force Black to calculate all kinds of random things here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's your eval, by the way?
Well, that's still 0.4 for White.
0.4.
Yeah.
All right, considerable. As we've seen a few times now, when we go back one day and check our evaluations with the computer, it'll be closer to zero than what we think.
Oh, I'm pretty confident the computer likes this for White.
Okay.
One of the reasons I wanted to do a deep dive with the game yesterday is it was a classic two bishop position, and there was some things I did I'll say a cursory look, and there was questions I was like, I got to go over this with David. I don't understand exactly what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And at the most it got for Black was like 0.3 for Black,
Mm-hmm.
which seemed, I don't feel like we got that incredibly wrong. I feel like we always thought Black was a little bit better.
Yeah. Yeah, but very small amounts.
It didn't like the knight b3 move that Wei Yi played that I thought that was a good, I still like it.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't understand really why that was incredibly wrong.
But even at the height of Black's advantage, when I played out further moves, the computer always eventually was equalizing more or less for White. Getting pretty close to just draw.
Mhm. One of the things that these games show that's interesting is when you think about why is Bobby so powerful is because he has been able, maybe he won't be able to do it again, but
Mhm.
he's been able to create very spicy opening moves. So not necessarily the best moves or anything, but creating situations where he can really use his tactical ability to push an opponent after he gets a little bit of something, something.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Yeah, so bishop d7 is possible and knight e5 is possible, but then the a pawn probably goes. Yeah. Hmm. Is bishop d7 necessary? Strictly? Okay. I think that bishop takes c6 is a threat. And it's not because of bishop a7, Kalen. Because bishop a7, c5, meh. I think it's because of queen d4. And the a pawn's very hard to defend against white's queen. c5, queen a4, she continues going after it. And if the king goes to, b5, b8, something like that, then I was thinking maybe b4. And it's a little bit risky for black.
no, I don't think you should lie. Come on, play bishop d7, Wiggy. We know you're gonna do it, buddy.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And I think we can make the argument. By the way, the other comforting thing about bishop b5 is if we assume bishop d7's the move, that you don't have to worry about d5s. I don't even think d5 was a thing for black. I don't think he should even do it, but still, like now I don't have to, after bishop d7, I've got you in a position where I don't have to worry about it.
Hmm.
Actually, on bishop d7, I would argue at some point you were going to be threatening knight e5 because knight g4 could be annoying.
So if
So
bishop d7, does white have to play f3 or h3 already, or can they go rook e1,
exact
knight
window
e5,
question.
bishop f1, knight g4, bishop a7 looks okay for white. Kalen Grabsir was saying that in my whole queen a4, b4 line that black could put up good resistance with queen d7, which is true.
And I'm not sure about what you're saying, Mr. Pruess. At the end of that, I take on h2.
Okay.
And that's kind of a spicy
Say
situation.
bishop c4. It's a spicy situation, but I mean,
For whom?
but yeah, I mean, looks much
Okay,
scarier for
you
black.
you got me.
Yeah.
You got me.
So
Uh,
probably you could go rook he1. I mean, I don't think it's a big deal for white to play f3 or h3 though. I think those moves
no,
are
it
both
isn't.
playable.
Well, we do want to retreat the bishop to f1 if knight e5 happens. That is a nice thing.
Right. So rook e1. Jackson, if you're asking about bishop a7, b6 right here, there is this important checkmating pattern, which is what's allowing us to think about grabbing the pawn.
Checkmate. All right, I'll be right back.
Yeah. And Peshki, you want to maybe keep going in this position for black, but the situation's pretty bad for black. After f3, the knight's very hard to extricate. The king is not feeling so comfortable. B6, there's always this mate. And this is a very tough position for black at this point. If white grabs a7, there's like 7 different things that can go wrong for black at this point. There's bishop g1, there's queen d5, bishop a6, there's the bishop just retreating and then the queen going to d4 and into a7. It's long-term problematic for black. There's even like rook e7, and you can no longer play rook e8 because of bishop f7. There's too many different advantages for white in this position. So bishop d7, rook e1. Bishop d7, rook e1. I think a move like king b8 could be simple and reasonable for black, just covering a7 a little bit better. And then you might see, f3, rook e8, or I don't know if the game would then calm down into the Jesse plan or what. But seems pretty solid. Wei's spending a weird amount of time on this bishop b5 situation. c4 to bring the queen, maybe. In my king b8 variation. Okay, king b8. You may or may not need my f3 move. But Patrick, are you saying you might play c4 with the bishop on b5? Or with the bishop on f1? Because I would say if c4, you're committing to trading this bishop, and I think there goes most any claim of an advantage for white. Black will then set up with b6 pretty soon and hold the dark squares against your bishop using their pawns. So if that's what you want, I wouldn't recommend that. Jesse put his eval much higher than me, by the way, on this position, folks. Jesse said 0.4, which is really a noticeable something, and I said 0.15, meaning black's fundamentally fine. It's just a little preferable to be white. "13 minutes on bishop d7, 13 minutes on bishop b5. They're playing at the same pace. a pace at which Wei Yi would have 1 minute left at move 18, whereas Esipenko could make it all the way to move 19 before using up his time. Mr. Pizza, to me, the position looks well within the range of holdable for black at the moment. But as far as predicting the result, either player could still outplay the other. Just because they've been playing well every game in the tournament up till this one, you never know when you're going to make a mistake. You know, it does happen at some point there. They sped up, rook e1, rook e8. It is a good position for a middle game sparring, Robin, for sure. Testing out what we can or can't do with the bishop pair. I feel like Wei Yi sparred it before, and he knew what he was doing with h5, preventing the expansion over here.
Oh, he's tanking. Oh, here we go.
No, they moved. They put the rooks on the e-file.
I kind of called that. My GM today. Come on now.
What, rook e1, rook e8?
Well, the whole setup here, you know, we're just gonna. Wei Yi was definitely having time pressure yesterday. Looks like he's headed for it again today. Another one of Black's problems is he really doesn't want to touch any pawns.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think. Like, it's not the end of the world for you to play either b6 or a6, but it just helps me think about what I'm doing so much more once you make one of those moves.
Yeah, I think Black's position is nearly optimized, other than I would play king b8 at some point. But
yeah. And honestly, like, this dude is interesting because yesterday, I mean, he found those intense moves in pretty deep time pressure too.
mm-hmm.
But I think most jams would just play king b8 here automatically, just like, well, that's where it's going.
Mm-hmm.
But dude is not.
Same with bishop d7 a couple moves ago. I mean, he spent
Right,
13 minutes on something that everybody in chat had come up with within 3 seconds.
So I put it at 0.4, David. What do you think it is?
0.15.
So you think because you've been traumatized by the computer telling you you're wrong.
Yeah, very piano, very piano. Nothing's worth getting excited about, you know. And even I still get too excited, right? Like I said 0.4 in the Sindarov game just 10 minutes ago, right? And the game was like a draw before we could even realize we were wrong.
Yeah. Okay, but that one was of a quality where it was, obviously White had a little bit of a development advantage, and then it was just a question if we could do anything with it. And it was a question of feeling that we felt like something, white should be able to find something, right? It wasn't like we necessarily found it, but we just feel like, okay, white should have something here.
Yeah.
Whereas
White
this
already
one
has
looks
it.
more, yeah, this one looks like a position we've all kind of seen before.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't even matter if it were, black had two moves. It's not like he's going to improve it drastically.
All right, I'll raise my evaluation to 0.23. I do think I was maybe underestimating it a little bit. We've got an interesting plan from Patrick, Jesse. A little wrinkle on yours. F3, Bishop G1, Queen F2.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to bully her way into A7.
Yeah. Now, in general, it should be said that if black's going to move one of those pawns, the B or the A pawn, he should play B6 rather than A6
Mm-hmm.
on the principle of the bishop,
Yeah.
of being like, well, that's where, the thing belongs. Now, one argument against King B8, for example, could be to say, well, if it is my fate to play B6, then my king should go to B7.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, maybe I should just bite the bullet and play it immediately. Okay, none of that business. He plays A6 now.
Right. Well, here's the problem. If you play B6, you're basically tolerating this bishop, right?
Now you could play
I
King
mean,
B7 and then you move the knight or something.
mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering what it was all about. Now, A6,
Right. And I
not
guess we're
hard for
saying that
what?
if white put the bishop on A6, then as black, we don't mind eventually playing bishop C8 and just trying to trade it.
Yeah.
Okay.
In any case, we got A6, which I said was not the greatest move of those.
Mm-hmm.
Bishop F1. And so Bishop B5 served the purpose of annoying black so much that he extracted this A6 tempo out of him.
Yeah. Instead of B6, we get A6, and so the bishop on E3 is a little bit stronger.
Now, here's an interesting thing about the two bishop advantage. This might seem a little metaphysical, but there's always a little question of like, well, do I want to trade all the rooks off? Or do I want to keep a rook on? All right, H4 played. Okay, before we address H4, so the question is, do we want to trade all the rooks off or not? In my experience, the two bishops versus the pure bishop and knight is even more brutal than with the rooks on. So that's kind of like why I'm thinking that F3 and then moving the bishop, whether it's to G1 or F2, are the comparable situations. All right, so let's get inside Wei Yi's head for a second.
It's interesting you say that, Jesse. I would have vaguely thought that the bishop pair would want to keep a rook on the board.
Okay, well, and one of the things about that is if you keep a rook on the board, then you have the ability to go into a Fischer endgame at any point by trading the bishops off.
Yeah.
Right. All right, H3 played. These people have been trained by AlphaZero.
Yeah.
They know not to allow H3. David wanted to allow H3 the other day, and I was like, no, bro, AlphaZero's changed it. he never wants to allow that thing, man. Okay. So what H4 does, I think, is says, well, eventually I'm going to play G5 anyway to defend my coconut and maybe to grab a little bit of squares.
Mm-hmm.
The second G5 is played, however, then I get interesting thoughts of playing for F4.
Yep.
And I want to break things open. Now, black could also say, I don't have to play G5. Maybe I'll play Queen H5 if you attack my coconut. I would say I really would not like this position as black. Not only do I feel like white has a nice long-term edge, but I don't know what black should do.
Perhaps you're wondering what would be the impact of black getting in the move H3. Let me play A4 instead of H3 for white for a second.
Uh-huh.
Then I'm going to play H3 for black. So first of all, if you take on h3 and the rook goes to h8, let's assume that black wins back their pawn and white's pawn structure is broken.
Mm-hmm.
So instead, let's play g3 for white. Then we're going to play bishop g4 for black. And what's going to happen here is suddenly white's light squares are kind of weak.
Right. And in addition, I think one of the things we can say for black is black's big dream is to give us some kind of local weakness that will allow the knight to get an outpost. So if you look at the position now, there's no square for the knight where it has an outpost, where
Yeah.
it can just sit there.
Yeah.
Whereas after h3, then whether you take it or play g3, then my knight has all kinds of hops all of a sudden.
Okay, so h3 for white. That made sense.
Let's see if we can be GM today here, bud.
Okay.
What plans do we have here for black?
Yeah. I suppose you could put your knight on e5. But that's kind of inviting queen d4 to a7. I don't know. I don't know if I even want to do that.
So let's talk about Mr. Knight. So the knight can dream about e5, he can dream about f5, but the second he plays the knight away from the king, then any kind of queen to the a7 square becomes a huge threat, and you can't play b6. Which points to there's two problems of this a pawn to a6 move.
Yeah.
One is if I get my queen to a7, namely that means your knight can't move ever. Then you're toast. Also, of course, I might someday be allowed to arrange a4, b4, b5.
Yeah. But basically, if the pawn were on a7, black could play b6 in a lot of these positions,
Mm-hmm.
which might be no big deal. But if the a pawn drops, oof.
Yeah.
So the knight can't be moving away. And Jesse, I'm thinking rook e7, rook d e8 is my suggestion for Monsieur Black.
So mostly just to sit and say, yeah, I want that rook trade.
Right.
Okay.
A little bit of sit, a little bit of say what. What you want.
So, okay, let's put rook e7 on the board.
Also, I'm thinking that, if you move your bishop on e3 at some point, I could trade all the rooks rather than one rook. So.
Fair. Okay, so from my perspective there, white would have two main thoughts. Two plans. One is the basic f3, bishop f2.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in that position for white. And the other is the more ambitious, like a4 question.
Yeah.
And a4 is very ambitious because when I play b4, I give you the c4 square. And once I give you the c4 square, then your knight pieces really do have something, to write home about.
Yeah. If you move the b pawn, I would be surprised.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to play a chump GM move after rook e7. I'm going to play f3.
I double.
He doubles. I'm going to play a chump GM move. I'm going to play bishop f2.
Okay. I trade.
Now I have a question. The great question, the great question of this position. Do I want the pure ending or do I want to leave a rook on?
I know. I shouldn't have given him a choice. That's pure torture.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to take with the bishop.
Yeah.
And the narrative is that since I control e4, e3, e2 so well, that it's a nice position where I'm going to say your rook on e8's actually a chump.
Well, I mean, you don't have to call it a chump. You can just say it's not a big deal.
Okay.
We
Don't have to
tone,
insult people,
tone down the
Jesse.
rhetoric. It's okay.
So David needs to decide. Well, and here David has a choice. Does he want to commit to this G5 move, or does he want to sit on me with like a Queen H5 thing?
Yeah, I will sit for now.
He's gonna sit. All right, I'm gonna do my basic move. Bishop F2.
I play rook e7, just moving things along. And by moving things along, I mean not moving anything.
All right, so this introduces the question, should I play Queen D5? Hmm. Okay, I'll play Queen D5.
Oy vey.
We
Move.
got to move. After H3, Black played Bishop E6.
Huh. Interesting.
So, what are the intentions of Bishop E6?
Hmm.
I just want to say I don't think D5 is a good move, especially because we would give up some dark squares, like the C5 square. But but if you're not gonna play D5, I don't know yet what Bishop E6 is about.
Yeah, it doesn't appear to be about trading rooks, right? Blocking the file up a little bit more. Hmm.
You could make an argument that the bishop doesn't want to be on the H3 C8 diagonal anymore. And it wants to control D5. So maybe let's say I play F3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's other moves for white, but that's just continuing in my chump GM style.
Right.
Um, then maybe Queen H5.
Uh-huh. Bishop f2.
And if Bishop F2, I say I actually want it on this other diagonal, so Bishop F7.
Okay. That's not
And
unreasonable. I just don't see the advantage of this immediately over bishop f5. So can we go back to the live position and see why, if there's a reason the bishop couldn't go to f5?
well, I think he's trying to control D5. So, all right. So if you imagine Bishop F5, I think I still play F3.
Okay.
And the question I'm going to hang over you is the Queen D5 question later.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, David, if I'm going to put a story to bishop e6, the story is I just want to say I want to control the d5 square.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe like a best play with this plan. Of course, there were other things black could do, right? So f3, let's say queen h5, bishop f2, bishop f7. So I keep your coconut out of uh, d5,
Yeah. I'm going to
and at
borrow
some,
a suggestion here
uh-huh,
from Robin, and I'm going to try to move queen f4 for white.
good, yeah, just force me to make a call over there. That's a little unpleasant, yeah. Okay, maybe that isn't it in terms of the intention. So do we have a move? We do. Oh, F3. I'm a GM today.
Mm-hmm.
What is a little surprising is just how long he's taking. I think like the old time GMs would be playing these building moves a little faster, but these kids are playing move by move, as we said earlier. Now, okay, let's say something obvious. If you were concerned about F3, it would be like you're trying to imagine to yourself, you're saying, okay, I'm making a couple holes on my king side. Is there any way for the Black Knight to come messing with me over there?
Mm-hmm.
Hard to imagine, but if I'm worried about anything, that would be my concern.
Queen f4 looks mildly agonizing.
I mean, it looks agonizing all around.
Maybe we go back rook h8 at that point.
Well, right, and we'll just say there's a variety of different ways that you can choose to suffer. It's not going to be like I can immediately knock you out. You can always play G5, and let's just say the obvious. The problem with G5 is that when I play F4, I get to open the position some.
Well, but g5 queen f6 at the moment, right?
No, no, I don't mean in this exact position. I
Okay.
just mean if you're gonna. So the question when we're playing F3, we're saying we're about to play Bishop F2. When we do play Bishop F2, you have the choice between G5 and Queen H5 or Rook H8,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. By the way, return of the bishop. The bishop on f1 can come back out, like bishop d3, and then it can go to e4 at some point and renew the threats to the queen side.
The bishop on E6 is very precarious. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, it controls D5. How big of a deal that is, I guess, we can argue. But also, like, it kind of wants to move out of the way. Like, I wanted to play bishop F7 as an example,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And it's amazing to believe, like, Wei Yi could be just be gone here. This could be the end of Wei Yi, bud. It's gonna be the end. All right, we got G5 played.
Yeah.
Now, this made me very nervous, but okay.
Well, our little moves back and forth had gradually drawn me towards the conclusion that this move couldn't be avoided.
And I guess what the intention in here is if F4, then we're playing G4.
I was thinking about if f4 playing g4, and that
This,
also made me think an interesting thought. F4 is well and good for white, right? but maybe start with bishop f2 and then play f4.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So that your bishop's already hitting h4, and queen would be good on f4.
Okay, so very committal move, g5. Now, in addition to bishop f2, Mr. Pruess, there's the other plan that was mentioned earlier of bishop g1, queen f2.
Yeah.
And
But that's with a
that,
bishop to trade the knight.
what's that?
That would be with a bishop on b5, so you're actually threatening.
Well, but the intention of this plan right now would be bishop g1, queen f2. And the claim would first of all be black, you can't do anything, which maybe that's not true. But anyways, bishop g1, queen f2, and then we play a4, and then we say b4, and then we say what?
Oh my god, b4 too?
Now let me just say, if white were to do that, that would be a much more ambitious knockout kind of blow plan that you would really want to make sure about because the milk could go bad in that position. But let me just try it out. It's easy for us to do, Mr. Pruess. So I'm going to play bishop g1. We have bishop f2 on the board, so let's not do it then.
Okay.
One of the things I was going to say about bishop g1 is I'm like, no way is Esipenko going to go for it, even if it's a good plan. No way. For one, this is a no risk situation of a plan, bishop f2, and bishop g1 carries risks with it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lower risk way to use your bishop g1 plan, although it's very, very slow, but the position's pretty slow, right? You go queen f2, and then instead of a4 and b4, you play bishop d3, bishop e4.
Yeah. Then I am assuming d5,
Okay,
But
and
yes, we could also have
then
that
I
going.
drop back again, and I say, okay, thank you. Then I put my queen on c5,
So I'm going to guess that, well, we'll see later if we can analyze with the computer, but bishop g1 strikes me as what I like about it is that it allows us to play on both sides of the board.
Yeah,
Bishop f2 looks like we're just playing on one side of the board.
just playing for f4.
Also, we're just going to kind of sit on the guy. Yeah. Also, if you think about it from a competitive standpoint, you got almost, what do you got, 30 minutes on the clock. Bishop g1 would be the one to be like, all right, buddy. And the cool thing about it, too, is bishop g1, queen f2, you haven't, even after a4, you haven't committed anything, right? It's
Yeah,
only when you play b4 that the actual dice has been thrown.
yeah. They have made 20 moves now. So Wei Yi has 1 minute per move plus a 30-second increment equals 1 minute and 30 seconds per move.
Yeah, Wei Yi is already deep in the doo-doo. This is the same story as yesterday.
Again, in
All
this
right, we got
tournament, Jesse,
bishop f5.
I don't feel like we've seen any clear. I don't feel like we've seen any clear strength difference in the classical between the 2700s and the under 2700s. Like if you're just looking at the games and you didn't know the players, you wouldn't feel in any way like Wei Yi was the favorite in this match, right?
And it's funny, I feel like the people who were bringing it was like Arjun brought it forever, and then we got taken out by an accident. Keimer was bringing it in the classical, got taken out by an accident, right?
Yeah.
And our boy Shanklin was doing it really Esipenko style, though he was playing much more ambitious in the classical games.
He was trying.
Yeah. All right, so bishop f5. Very simple move, saying, hey, maybe I will exchange some rooks on and on f4. Maybe I say I'm not even too worried about it. Like we might see f4. On f4, we could see queen h5. We could see queen g6.
Mm-hmm.
And the bummer is for white is, in an abstract sense, it's good for us to take on g5 to open the position. But the problem is we then surrender the e5 square to black, which black can use not only for his knight, but for his rook.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful central support point.
So I'm not sold on f4 here. That's one of the reasons I like the bishop g1 plan so much. Because when we do bishop g1, we're not committed to anything. We could still play f4 later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this move here is a big temperature check from Esipenko because, he has to either say, oh, f4 is great, I'm rushing into it, or he has to say, it's no big deal, I'll just wait around a little bit longer. This is the live position, folks, so he's going to reveal some of his cards here.
All right, let me make an argument for f4 here.
Sure.
The argument here is, first of all, you can't really play g4 yet, of course. And if you play, what do you want to do, Mr. Pruess? My idea is that I might be able to play bishop c4 in a favorable way sometime soon.
Let's imagine black maybe just puts the queen on g6.
All right, let's play queen g6. All right, my first question is, how about bishop c4?
Okay. So some questions being asked, sort of taking control of some diagonals. You could also establish your bishop on d5 in some cases. Might not be dumb.
Black, by the way, might just play bishop e4 and say what?
That's what I was going to do.
Yeah. So not only does f4, like f4 fg will surrender the e5 square, but f4 in itself also surrenders the e4 square.
Yeah. I'd had a concept like 10 moves ago of putting my knight on e5, pretending it was an outpost, and then once white plays f4, remaneuvering my knight around to e4 and saying, haha, true outpost, right? The reason I never got around to it was because knight e5, queen d4 was just always too stupid, right? My knight was needed to cover my king. But yeah, bishop e4, looking at g2, you can never bring that pawn back to f3 now. That's...
All right, I got an idea for white. Instead of f4, how about I play bishop c4, Mr. Pruess?
Okay, look at that, folks, how quickly we've given up on f4. Interesting.
No, we just, f4 is always in the cards. We just do it a little later.
Yeah. Okay. Bishop c4, queen g6. Well, hang on.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if you want, the question is whether you want to allow this bishop d5 thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, how do I stop it? If I go bishop e6, you can play bishop d3 and go to e4. Pretty similar.
Well, in any case, bishop e6, bishop d3 was my intention.
Also, bishop e6, there's some danger of an absolutely horrendous crosspin here. Oh, the queen's on d2. It can't get to f5. Okay. And rook e1. d5 is okay then. Okay.
So here's a real actually move by move question mark after bishop f5 is bishop c4 annoying now? Now, to my mind, Mr. Pruess, the real question is like on queen g6. First of all, your queen might be a chump over there. It's kind of away from the action. But is bishop d5 a thing or not? I guess is my little question. And I'm not sure yet. It would depend on our evaluation of like knight e7, I guess.
Yeah, 97 looks okay for the moment. I mean, it's it's risky. It's okay by a very thin tactical margin. Hold your horses, Patrick. Hold your horses. We can't do that yet.
What is Patrick saying?
He wants to just take on e7 the moment he gets the chance.
Yeah.
He's an avid bishop man. But yeah, rook e7, queen d4, c6, shutting out one of the bishops, and no lo puedo. We gotta take it easier. Okay, so bishop d5, knight e7 doesn't really do anything.
Now, one of the things I like about bishop c4 is it really asks black, well, which square do you want for the queen? And that probably is at least a 3-minute think you can extract from the dude. And bishop c4 doesn't cost us anything, you know? Doesn't cost us anything.
Yeah.
But all right, so we don't have to play bishop d5, obviously.
Right.
Is black really threatening anything? It depends how you feel about the big rook trade from Doom. And the other thing, Mr. Pruess, that I want to say is black at some point could actually really play 90. Well, I don't know. I don't like 95. In any case, there's some positions where 95 is a thing. So the argument against bishop c4 would be if you don't have a follow-up on a move like queen g6, then you might just be better off going home.
I mean,
I think,
c4 is a pretty square. There's nothing wrong with going there for a moment, seeing what
by the
comes
way,
up.
I always feel like a4 is, there's never anything wrong with a4.
Yeah. I also like a4 always. The pawn is just a little closer to checkmating black's king or queening. And either one is okay with me.
And you're happy to see b4, but if I'm playing black, I'm being like, God dang, he might be able to organize b4 on my butt. You know? He
Mm-hmm.
might be able to do it. You don't know.
Yeah. I just don't really believe in b4, but
Well, let's just
everybody's
say
got different fears.
it would be a move by move kind of thing, whether it
Yeah.
works or not. It's just something you would have to figure out. Because b4, b5 will open your coconuts.
Mm-hmm. But when you play b4, I'll play maybe knight e5 before you play b5, right? And then the
Yeah, and then
coconuts
there's
may
going
not
to be
open.
questions of like queen d4 and all that other stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Not concerned.
Okay. Mr. Bruce, how about this? Just as a little exploration,
Mm-hmm.
let me play 21 bishop g1. Let's just play out a variation. I'm
Yeah.
sure we'll both make mistakes, but let's just play it out for a second.
Okay, we can do that. Bishop g1. I don't really know what black's doing, but I'll play bishop f5.
Okay. Queen f2.
Okay, I'm going to trade one rook.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm going to play rook e8.
I'm going to play rook b1.
Okay. The thing about keeping a rook on the board also is like if you get into a7 with your queen, it's nice to have a rook so that you can sort of chase the king towards a hard place, right? It's like having
Well, right. So there's a lot
it's
of
like
other
having a
games where I just
pestle
let
for
the
your
bishops.
mortar.
But here I'm not just playing for the bishops. I'm playing for a potential attack.
Yeah. Yeah.
And basically, I want Proust to give me some kind of concession on my path to this attack.
Mm-hmm.
And I can always play. So here, what I really like about this position, I'm playing on two sides because I still have f4 in my pocket. It's not just because I'm looking at the king. I'm not also thinking about f4.
He's thinking about it all. as is Andrei Esipenko right now. You know, in one of
He
the
should play
biggest
bishop g1, dude. It's time to play bishop g1.
one of the biggest things of the game for him here. Okay, you know what? This might be the moment where my queen gets to live a little bit larger. So let's bring her up.
Queen e6. Can you just tell me where you're going?
E5, the dark square.
Okay. All right. A4.
Yep. Queen E5. I didn't lie.
Play bishop c4. Maybe I should have played bishop c4. Actually, wait a sec. It's very concrete. So a4 is my plan, but let me. What happens if I play bishop c4?
Then you maybe have rook d5 for me to worry about, huh?
Yeah.
Queen e5, rook d5, queen f4. Don't really know what I'm doing, but there we are.
Well, we'd have to calculate it, but bishop h2, queen h2, rook f5 looks like at least an advantage for white. Because your queen has been Ozzy popped.
Yeah, let's see, bishop h2, queen h2, rook f5, queen h1. Getting weird.
Is it really a threat though, buddy? What are you doing? What are you gonna do to me?
Rook e1, rook b1, queen c1. But you might have bishop f1 here.
I could play bishop f1, yeah. I could. I think I think I can probably take that pawn too.
Really?
Well, rook f6, rook e1, queen d2. I'm gonna be surprised if you had something there.
You can take this and still defend that.
I also play for mid. Zubin, mid. You don't know about Zubin, dude?
Of course I do.
He's one of my favorites. Okay, so that was obviously we could have both sides could have done different
I mean,
things
I
there.
think really you should play bishop f1 to shut me out of this.
Okay,
I'm
fine,
feeling
fine,
very
fine.
good here.
Okay, that's fine. No, what after that position 95, I just take on g5. You've lost. You're going to get mated or bishop e6 first. No, don't do that, buddy. In any case, bishop g1. I like it. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to bring it up is bishop g1 here is still totally playable because black. It's hard for black to really. It's definitely an improved version over what Mr. Pruess just got, but it's hard to know exactly. It's hard for black to actually improve the position.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's at a minute to move.
Yeah. Heavy think from Esipenko. He's not sure about f4 or continued probery. The bishop g1, queen f2 plan sure looks nice to me. That's some big questions.
He's also calculating this bishop c4 thing, of course.
Well, Patrick, f4 is a very committal move, and it will give up the e4 square. So black will have this plan of putting the bishop on f5 and then e4.
You're right.
It's pretty.
And don't
pretty
forget that he has more pawns, more pieces that can talk to the light squares.
Mm-hmm.
So we really don't want to lose our light squares. Yeah. What's up, Firesnap?
Just wanted to say hello, tournament. So,
Oh, everybody wish Fire Snap luck. Do you know much about what's going on this tournament today? Like how many rounds or anything like that?
in my tournament,
Yeah.
there's going to be 5 games.
Nice. What, like 30-minute games?
I think it's going to last a lot of time, depending on how you play in your previous games.
No, no, it's gonna be same time control, bud. It's always same time control.
Then it's probably going to be like 15.
15 or 30. Okay. Do you guys like his new haircut, bud? You're styling, bud.
Yep.
Yeah, he's styling. You and Bruce have good hair. I don't know why I got slammed on that, dude.
What do you mean? Your hair,
We
your hair's like the easiest to upkeep now.
Oh, Mr. Bruce, we got a move no one predicted. I mean, no one. 16 minutes for this move, Mr. Bruce. Bruce, he won, dude.
Rook C1.
What are you doing, buddy?
Dude, if Jesse, do you think that could be the computer's top move, Rook C1? Could that be better than any other move here?
All right, before we laugh about it,
Too late.
what is the thought of Rook C1? What are we doing? What do you mean, Rook C1? Like if it was my move as white, I think Rook CD1 would be a main option for me. So what am I doing playing Rook C1?
I don't know. Maybe he's just started playing hand and brain or something.
Rook C1, dude? God, is that a weird move?
I don't even think it is a move. Like, what is it doing?
God, is that a weird move, man? Dude, if after the game we go through it and the computer's like, yeah, Rook C1, that was the move.
Yeah. That's gonna be
What
insane.
are you talking about?
That
No,
seems
I guess
impossible.
one thing about it is, all right, here's a story. Here's a story that my coach demanded of me that if I got to 10 minutes, that I had to move.
Yeah.
And so maybe he had an inner coach who's just like, look, boss, I've thought of this 16 minutes. I just got to move.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make a non-move. To me, it seems worse than a non-move.
Yeah.
God, I don't get it, buddy.
I mean, if he were just looking to move back and forth, it's not bad. Rook C1, Rook CD1. I don't think he's really risking anything as white.
Robin Esperosa says he's playing the queen, which is not true at all.
Well, Robin, I mean, it is true that you're overprotecting the key C2 square. So Robin's not wrong on that, but
yeah, it's the softest square in white's position. It's just not very soft. There's no
okay, I got a crazy idea, Mr. Bruce. Hold on, I do have a crazy idea.
Yeah.
What if the intention? All right, you play black. We'll see. Let's see if I got it.
Let's just say Esipenko spent more time on Rook C1 than Wei Yi has for the rest of the time control.
Okay, but you make a move. I'm gonna just see if I've got it.
Okay,
I
trade on E1.
Okay, so my idea was that if you didn't trade,
oh sorry,
I was gonna play Rook ED1.
Yeah, I thought of that.
Now, by the way, if I was gonna do this weird plan, I would have played Rook A1 because then at least on A1 I have some zhuzh with A4, B4 later. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you want to play Rook takes? I'm gonna play Rook takes.
Okay, Rook E8. Back to C1, I suppose.
Hey, take it easy. Take it easy. Easy now. All right, Bishop C4.
Bishop C4. Whoa. You take it easy. Queen G6.
I'm just trying to imagine what dude's got up his sleeve.
Yep.
All right. Bishop D5.
All right, I'm gonna have to dream about you on E1.
You can take, and you can even take on C2.
Maybe next move. Yeah.
Maybe. All right, I don't know, buddy. I tried my best. All right, let me ask you this way. Is there any world where it's a concession for black to take on E1 now? And also, Mr. Pruess, I'm stretching here.
Yeah.
I'm stretching.
I know.
So is it, let's just say, I don't know, you played Queen G6 or something. Am I really doing something special with Rook ED1?
Oh, I thought about that too, and I don't know. I don't know. Not especially. All right, we got the move Queen G6 played, by the way.
So he's not afraid of Rook ED1.
Well, if you fear Rook ED1, I mean, you're gonna live your life in terror.
All right, but let's put a story to this. So the story could be that when I play Rook ED1 now, it is true that I have controlled C2. And I'm going to say your rooks are chumps on the E file. Now, by the way, I did not understand what I was supposed to do on your rook takes E1, rook E8, Mr. Pruess.
Yeah.
But here, I mean, it's arguably, okay, so the argument is by keeping all of the heavies on the board, I increase the potential of the attack on the king plan. Just long term, by keeping everything on. Mr. Pruess doesn't like it. He's like, "What is this crap?"
No, I don't know. I don't know.
The real question is, are we going to be a GM today, and is Rook ED1 going to happen? You'd think that if you thought forever on Rook C1 and your idea was Rook ED1,
You
that
would
on
now,
moves like Queen G6, you'd just be like, "Well, I'm going there."
you now unveil it with a smirk.
Gotcha.
Haha, you fell into my grob.
Maybe Rook C1 will go down in the books, but as one of the greatest positional moves ever played.
Maybe. Maybe.
David doesn't like it.
Well, I don't understand it yet, and
All right, let me play it. Let me play Rook ED1.
I find it
All right.
hard to believe that there's anything to discover here.
Okay, wait. Give me a chance, bro.
You've got all the chances you want.
All right, so Rook ED1, and my claim is now that since you can't exchange the rooks, I'm going to end up hurting you. Do we have it? A4. Nope. Nope. No, I think he should have played A4. If he wanted to do A4, last move would have been a great option to do it.
Sure.
I feel like if like he's really just like trying to make people laugh now. Imagine you played Rook CD1.
Just doing it for the laughs.
No checkmate, Nate. Mr. Pruess says will never drink coffee. And I was thinking about it back in the day that we used to call somebody who didn't drink alcohol a teetotaler.
Yeah.
But Pruess won't even drink tea, dude.
Yeah.
No.
I'm a two-totaler.
Oh, water total.
Cheers to the water drinkers.
Do you drink anything else besides water, bud? Is there another drink?
The blood of my enemies.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
What about lemonade?
Yeah, what about lemonade, bud? Is that too much for you?
Citric acid, though. Orange juice.
Lemonade. I mean, in theory, I would drink it. It doesn't come up very often.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Theory, you would drink one.
In theory, if there were lemonade and it were just given to me, I would drink it. In practice, you normally have to pay like $1 for it, so I'd rather just drink water.
All right, my friends, I want to say something obvious. This dude Wei Yi is tanking for Evs, and he's being taunted by moves. Rook C1.
Taunted by Rook C1.
I tried to explain it. I don't think I've done it because he didn't even do it. All right, Rook E5 played.
Yep.
All right, here's the narrative. Esipenko was waiting for the move Rook E5 to then play Rook ED1. You like that one, Ben?
Yes. I mean, it's not. It's the longer. It's not the smarter move because it's taking longer time and giving your opponent chances to.
I've never drunk water and thought, oh man, this is boring. That thought has never, ever occurred to me in my entire life.
Yeah,
Pretty much every time I drink water,
just...
I feel great.
What about you? You like the carbonated water, boss?
No.
Yeah.
No.
You gotta have a little fun. I mean, I'm sorry.
What about that, bud? What about these guys saying, yeah, how do you have your fun, bud?
I have lots of fun. The water keeps my body hydrated so I can have fun in other ways.
You just estimated the amount of lemonade you would drink if you were served. How is it having fun, Bounce?
What? So food is just a fuel, boss? There's no fun in it?
No. Food can be fun, but for drinking, I just drink water. I don't know. I don't think about it.
Doesn't it just get like...
It's like, are you tired of breathing air, Jesse? Do you ever like breathe air and be like, dang, that's boring. I wish there was some perfume.
Well, but there's good air and bad air. I'll tell you that. There's good air and bad air.
If you're breathing smoke, that's...
Yeah. When Firesnap stunk up the dojo the other day by letting loose a fart, I'll tell you what, I wished I had some good air in that.
Yeah, but good air has never bored you, right? Just like water has never bored me.
I'm an air sommelier, but I smell that. I'm an expert with the good airs.
I'm not saying that water is boring. I'm just saying that sometimes you can have stuff that's better than... Because, like, there's hot cocoa. It's like hot cocoa. Like, you don't not want to drink a cup full of chocolate with marshmallows. And it's like...
Oh, my God, marshmallows. That's disgusting. I was believing you at first with the hot cocoa, and then you were going to put, like, weird, like, sticky gunk in it.
Okay, we'll take the marshmallows out, Jesus.
All right, because I want to say Rook E5 is a nice solid move. It taunts F4, and just saying, dude, if you ever play F4, the E4 square is mine, and I'm totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to play Rook DE8, and I'm feeling pretty solid now. So actually, I'm gonna deflate my assessment of the position. I'm gonna go down to like 0.1 or 0.2. But it's already feeling a lot like nothing. It's feeling a lot like a tiebreak.
See, even Jesse's opening up. He's drinking motor oil.
Yep.
You're drinking what? Motor oil?
Yeah.
Wow. That's random.
This is called Danish oil. I have one of the few nice things I have in life, Mr. Pruess, that you desperately need, buddy, is a nice desk.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You need a nice desk to have your chess table on there, to have your computer. He has to share space. He's in Berkeley. They don't have no space in Berkeley.
Yeah, before that, Jesse, I need a room to put the desk in.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, so I got that stuff to make the desk nice with a little wood oil.
Do you like different temperatures or like ice in your water? Does that change your...
I don't really care.
No. So you would just be like, you just drink lukewarm water and be like, delicious.
Sure. Esipenko's burning up his clock. Not really achieving too much just yet. But we didn't go very far into this examination of this F4 move. We mentioned it gave the E4 square, but we didn't plenty moves after f4. From black side, maybe you go rook e4 to try and force some clarification from white, right? Fg would give us e5, and rook e4 would give us the diagonal. Yeah, I see why Jesse calmed his evaluation. Either of those concessions looks like a small step in the right direction for black. So I suppose f4 would be answered by rook e4.
And you could just move it back too, because the bishop will go then to e4. You know. Here's a terrifying thought for everybody playing tournaments out there. Firesnap played one tournament a couple of years ago, didn't do great, got a little discouraged, but got like a provisional rating of 300 USCF. Now he's going out there today playing some chumps, and yeah, I would say Firesnap's probably between 800 and 1,000, depending on whether he's going to take his time today. He might not take his time, but he takes his time, he might be up there with 1,000. So you're playing somebody who might be 700 points underrated. Oh, bruv, not a nice situation for your opponents, bruv. Take it easy, man. It's not very nice.
Yeah.
Should I yell at them about water?
About water?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those kids will probably be drinking coffee at the tournament you're going to, man. I'll be drinking coffee.
Oh, I wish I were going to a chess tournament. My word.
Yeah, when do you get to play at the tournament, bro?
Never, man.
Never?
Well, not 2025, that's for sure.
Your whole 2025, you didn't get to play one tournament, huh?
Not a one.
Dang.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, here we got to move. Rook E2. Oh, it's just getting grosser and grosser. He's really overprotected that E2 C2 square, buddy.
Oh, yeah, he's got everybody on it.
Oh, this Esipenko dude, he's just holding the position, bro. He's not doing nothing.
This is the best. I don't have a lot of ideas. What are your guys' ideas? Like, he is kind of just like wasting his time into a good position. Or you can start working. So.
Well, the good news for him is usually when you make moves like this against a strong player, you find yourself on the wrong end of the stick pretty quick. But for White, his natural advantages are such that it's hard to imagine the milk actually going bad.
There's nothing black could do in 75 years.
Very, very hard to imagine anyway, yeah. And this has been Esipenko's MO. He just wants to draw and then hold the position, draw, go to the tie breaks, and there we are. And I'm not feeling Pruess, for marital reasons and also just ideological reasons, will not be doing the tie breaks tomorrow. And I'll tell you, I'm not feeling that pumped to do it myself. I've been covering the tie breaks before.
I know.
Firesnap might do it for us.
Okay. Sounds good. He's used to playing 15-minute chess, apparently, right? I don't know my way around a 15-minute game.
It's because I usually play 15, 30-minute games on chess.com. More of a classical.
Also, what a missed opportunity, dude. Your opponent is in deep time pressure. Here we go, rook CE1. Now, it's got to be said that...
Ooh, I see. If he trades rooks on e5, he could either get something out of it.
Well, rook e5, he doesn't. White doesn't want to trade. I think one of the funny things now is he's eventually going to be compelled to play bishop g1, not with the glorious idea of bishop f or queen f2, but rather of the sad bishop h2, forcing his opponent to trade all his coconuts off.
That's pretty lame.
If you trade on e5 and then the d6 pawn takes, and then you play rook e d1, then you can pop him with the queen on d7. Just saying.
Another super lame move, Mr. Pruess, would be bishop d4 a la Sindarov.
Oh, yeah. We've seen that play before.
What
We've
are we
seen
doing?
that play before. Yeah.
At this point, I hope Ezipenko has an accident, you know? He just played such a weenie moves. I just want to have him to have an accident.
This is a no accident possible position, you know?
I do.
It's all accidents are no accidents can happen. These accidents can happen.
We could
It's
think.
tough. Dude's got time on his clock. Hasn't made any mistakes this tournament.
Can we think about my move? Okay.
What are you talking about, bud?
So for so once it's White's turn, read on Rook E5.
Okay, wait. Before we go further, the rook e5 in general is a big concession for white because both FE and DE will give black a nice position.
But if at that point the D6 pawn takes, and you want to go Rook ED1, and then you're gonna go Queen D7, and then King to.
Bro, the D7 square is controlled by the bishop on F5. Oh man is right. Oh man is right. Fire snap.
Then you could take his rook, and then you could put that C2 bishop into action on A7.
Yeah. Okay, rook A D7, very simple move. Black probably intends queen E8 with the triple, the gun as it's sometimes called. Yeah. One thing I want to tell you, Fire Snap, for your tournament, bro. But you're probably gonna. I think your mom's taking you. Oh, you need to go because you don't want to be. You have to make sure because your mom will make you late for that first round. You'll miss it. So you need to get. But my big advice for you is your opponents are gonna hang their coconuts, and you just need to take your time and not hang your coconuts, and you will win. All right, bro. Ciao.
Get it.
That's what I did when I beat Oscar yesterday in chess club.
Oh, you beat him, dude. Nice. Beat that chump.
Yeah. All right. Fire snaps off to conquer. I agree with you, Robin. White still has the same minimal advantage-ish as ever. The small difference, though, Robin, is that it looks like they're kind of locked into heavy rook trades. So I feel like that makes the defense just a little bit easier.
Oh, it makes it a lot easier. Like those other positions with Bishop G1, Queen F2, I was doing things, and now I'm not really like F4 is not really on the table. Like in order for White to break down the defenses, I need time to organize like either B4, B5, some kind of F4, some kind of business against your king, and now it's just not going to happen.
Yeah. Jesse, can I ask you about something that I was surprised about? You said that if White traded on E5,
yeah,
that DE and FE would be nice positions for Black. But I had assumed, honestly, that I would just play Rook E5, Rook E5, Knight E5, and keep the pawn structure I have. Maybe that's just fear of change. But if FE5, is it not a concern that the G5 pawn can be sort of targeted?
I mean, first of all, rook e5, there's nothing wrong with black in that
Nothing
position.
wrong with rook e5, okay.
But I guess I would look at first DE5 and if I was white, I'd be like, I don't want to allow, like if I allow DE5, let's just think about DE5 for a second. Then all of a sudden black has a natural majority on the king side. And yeah, they can start dreaming.
Okay, so maybe DE5 is an improvement for black. FE5 not so clear, right?
FE5 I also think is totally fine for black.
Okay.
Because, I mean, you've played bishop e3, I'll just calmly play rook g7. How are you going to ever open me up? I don't know. But yeah, de5 is safer. In any case, dude's not going to take on e5. I'm predicting the super lame-o bishop g1 now.
You're thinking bishop g1, not bishop d4?
Maybe bishop d4, dude. He might do that to us, man. Bishop d4 would be such a sad move, dude. Such a sad move.
Nicholas Ever, I don't think G3 is much of a move for white because it leaves the H3 and F3 pawns a little bit weak. So I think he's just going to keep everything defending itself for now.
Chess Lover, thank you for subscribing. By the way, we are doing code GOA for 20% off during this tournament, and we're gonna do a Black Friday sale. And for that, you'd kind of need to be on our Discord or our email list.
Wait, you're saying after the Goa sale, there's a Black Friday sale?
We're gonna do a Black Friday sale. We're gonna send that out the morning of the 26th, and it'll be available like the 26th through the 2nd.
So
And
literally the day one sale ends, the next one starts.
but this one's a little different. This one's a little different. In general, in years past, we have always done a sale when we're covering a tournament for Black Friday and then for January 1st. That's been our MO for dojo sales. And the cool thing about the Black Friday sale is you could gift somebody for like get them a Christmas gift and just get it ready for them by buying it for them on that, on that series of days.
Okay. Super.
Pruess, man, the communist, not excited about anything.
Sorry, yeah, that sounded more like a lame-o than an MO.
Oh, but you know who's a GM today? I'm a GM today, brother. Bishop G1 finally not played with the super GM Queen F2, which could have done earlier, but of the super lame-o Bishop H2 to force the exchange without having to take on E5.
Dr. Pop, I don't mind us selling our product since Jesse and Kostya have to eat. I don't mind us selling our product. I understand that you live in the society you live in, regardless of you may want certain things to be different, but when I want bread, I still pay for the bread, and so I understand that. But like sales all the time is just lame, so lame. Just like pick the price that's the right price and sell the thing at that price, and it's fine. And our price is very low to begin with, so. But then to have like a sale that ends the day before another sale starts, that's like completely pointless.
So, Mr. Pruess, in this position, Black, the bummer is it's like clearly White's played like a fool. But
that's harsh.
Yeah, it isn't too harsh. But when you're Black, you also say, well, the bummer for me is if he's about to play Bishop H2 and get a raw two bishop position that's unpleasant for me, then I would rather find something. I'd rather find something where I at least get to talk to him in some way. And so I would want to do something. And at the same point, Wei Yi, you can't be thinking, buddy. You can't be thinking here, man.
They're at move 26.
So, like, I think most chump players here will probably just play Queen E8. Now, think about it. Just play Queen E8. And now F4 is always met by, like, a G4 thing.
A G4 thing.
A G4 thing. But he's tanking.
Shoot, Robin bought a chessable course for over $100 and it was very bad. That's rough. That is rough. You want to tell us what course so the rest of us can avoid buying
it? I'm guessing it was like a big openings course.
A lifetime repertoire, Jesse?
Joe Schmo's lifetime repertoire with deep computer analysis.
Yeah.
The deepest computer analysis that was available in 2023. Never mind the fact that if you turned it on in 2025, it'd be different.
Oh, snap. He already burned his first round opponent.
Okay. Nice, buddy.
That's the game against the chump yesterday.
Yep, he hung a pawn in the opening. I'm seeing that, but somehow he wasted him. This guy is like the top guy at the chess club. This is the guy who didn't believe that he was streaming with me and had to be convinced. But it was hard for him to convince him because his school computer was blocking our YouTube
Yeah.
channel because we sometimes say "D's nuts."
Well,
So, so the
yesterday,
YouTube,
yesterday you
so
were
the
saying,
YouTube,
yesterday you were saying FAFO like 10 times.
so the YouTube algorithm blocked him from showing it to this guy.
Yeah.
Anyways, this guy's rated, I think, around 900 something.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to go off and do battle
All
again
right.
today. Yeah.
Right on.
Firesnap, he's gone through periods like he was playing chess kind of diligently 2023, and then other things took over, and now he's on the chess team, and it's kind of a cool social thing for him in addition to it being, just about the chess.
Queen E8 looks fine to me, Jesse.
Yeah, Queen, yeah, I don't know what you're thinking about Wei Yi. Rook C1, top engine move.
No way.
No, I haven't looked at the engine. I'm
Just guessing,
I'm
right?
just predicting. I'm just predicting because there's been so many. I mean, Rook C1 is truly baffling. But remember, there was Bishop C1 in the game, I think with Sam, and we were like, Bishop C1, and then that was, in fact, top engine move.
Yeah.
Box course on the Nims. That I can imagine. I like it. I like Benjamin Bach. I don't know if that means his course is good, but I like that. I like the dude.
Course.
Oh, wait, ye, buddy. You're making things exciting.
Yeah.
All right, Queen E8 played after a gazillion minutes.
Yeah.
5 minutes played.
He's
and
like,
we are into.
he's just asking the viewers a math problem. If on every move I use more than half of my remaining time, will I eventually flag? It's an ancient Greek paradox. He's like, the position's so boring. Let's think about some philosophy.
All right, I'm a GM today. Bishop H2 played.
Okay. Can I be a GM today, Jesse? I'm going to predict rook takes E2.
Good.
Yeah?
I'm going to predict
Whoa!
rook takes E2 in response. Yeah. Yeah, we got it. So a couple exchanges. That was good for black. Got a little extra time on the clock with the exchanges. Now, to put a narrative on it, you say, all right, a lot of these positions like Rook C1, like White's positional advantage is so static that we don't need to make every move absolutely count. Now, from a computer's perspective, that just totally won't be true. But from a human perspective, right, we could tell a story where we like, as long as we keep these bishops on the board and black can't do anything, then we have great chances to win this game.
The move number, Grapsu, is move 28. They've got 12 moves to play.
Yep. And our boy is down to almost nada. Rook takes E2. He took a minute and a half.
Yeah.
A minute he doesn't have to play Rook E2.
Yeah.
Now, White could actually play Queen E2 or Bishop. He takes the bishop. I like the bishop better. Now,
Bishop
one of the
took.
things...
Look at that. Patrick was claiming that Esipenko was unambitious. And did you see him not take on E2 with the queen? That was... I mean, what more could you ask from him, Patrick? What more browsing move could any grandmaster play than bishop takes E2?
Now, Queen E6 is a little funny to me because it seems like we're inviting bishop C4.
The
But
idea partially may be to answer f4 with g4 by keeping control of that square.
we had that anyway.
Really?
Well, if it was White's movie and played f4, we. Oh, I see what you're saying. Right. Okay. I think you're right. That's the story. And so if Bishop c4, maybe we just calmly play Queen d7 or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can also. I think on Bishop c4, you can also just play Queen back to e8, because now f4 g4, the bishop's not on e2. Keep your knight covered. Keep the e file covered.
Bishop g1. I'm going to call for Bishop g1 f2.
Okay.
I know I was just there, but that's where I think we should be.
Yeah. Sure. Bring that bishop back. Bring that bishop back to f2. Turn up the heat. Turn up the heat. Andre. 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 You know, you'd have to be chanting that for like an hour before any real pressure came out of it. That would be tiring.
It's got to be said as well. Like, Robin is thinking Queen d1 to force f4. But again, once you play f4, Bishop e4 is a hell of a drug. It's going to talk to you. So I don't think f4 is really on the table anytime soon.
Okay, so you're saying in general f4, even if we don't have g4, the move Bishop e4 is going to be
Yeah, it
annoying
definitely in the
enough for
position after Queen d1, f4, Bishop e4 looks fine for black, you know.
Yeah. Remember they had that kind of India versus US match, which was a little bit weird. Like, I think they let the US play white on every single board and India play black on every single board. I never understood. But they had that match where at the end of the game, Nakamura threw Gukesh's king into the crowd.
Yeah.
You remember hearing about that?
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if that was a scenario where people tried chanting things during the games. The knight has been on its best spot for 20 moves now, Kavutskiy.
Well, and I want to say about the knight, now that the rooks are off, thoughts of Queen a7 are far less powerful, so that the knight could start thinking about making a jump for it, as they say.
All right, so say we got Bishop d5, Queen f2. Queen a7, yeah. The game's just going to go on at this point. There will be no mate.
And black, by the way, one of the things I think Etsipenko's trying to figure out is, like, when you play Bishop g1 now, I can start dreaming about Queen e5 stuff. And with Queen e5, you know, maybe trying to talk to your coconuts a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it is concrete because Bishop g1, Queen e5, f4 there might be kind of clever. Might. I want to stress the might and all that.
Yeah.
Again, what I
think a
don't
second.
understand actually is, well, yeah, that f4 might be clever.
Okay, Bishop c4 has been played.
Bishop c4. Okay.
So here I predicted Queen e8.
Queen e8 looks good. I mean, Queen e7, very similar.
The crowd was cheering, says Patrick. All right.
No, Mr. Pruess, you floated this weird theory to me the other day. You said something about, like, the queen going to the color. Whenever I'm in X position, I want the queen going to the color
Of the bishops that have been traded. If you've got one pair of bishops on the
of
board.
the bishops that did trade. So you're a GM today, Queen e8. Was that Queen e8 based on that rule, or you're just trying to have more scope with the queen? Like
That was staying on the file. Now, in these kind of positions, I'm in general going to be staying off the color of their bishop. Not always, right? But if there's a bias here, it's to be on the light squares with our queen.
Okay.
It allows us to, you know, coordinate with our bishop to sort of challenge their bishop and continually offer to trade off a bishop. Yeah. And it avoids tactics from the unopposed bishop. But this was mostly about staying on the file. You know, I'm also backing up my knight in case of bishop d5, so that it won't be a pawn structure threat. potentially. So it was just the best square I saw.
Fair enough. I don't see a response really for white. If queen e2, I think knight e5 is already a little bit of an annoyance.
Queen e2?
If queen e2, knight e5. You could obviously go to the endgame too.
Yeah.
The pure endgame.
Knight
I still
e5.
want the guy to play bishop g1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, we've got a question about whether queen d5 provides any tickle here.
Okay. Probably queen g6. Another virtue of Pruess is queen e8.
Yeah, I mean, I told you I was staying coordinated with my bishop.
Also, knight e7. It's got
well, knight e7, a little bit suspicious after queen d4 hitting the f6 pawn.
Okay, good. Yeah.
I mean, I think basically black can still survive that sort of thing, but yeah.
Dude, queen d5, maybe that's a real drug.
Well, what's wrong with queen g6 though?
Oh, bishop a6. Let's look at it.
Robin says if only there were a rook on c1 after queen
g6. He played bishop e2. I thought queen d5 was a good move. At that queen g6, bishop a6, I think you're busted.
Yeah, Patrick told me about bishop a6 like 100 years ago, and I sort of forgot or something.
But we got this sad move, bishop e2. He goes back to e6. Now he's playing faster. This is where you use a little moment to be like, this is where I'm going to find bishop a6, buddy. And queen a4. I can do that with under 5 minutes left.
Okay, let's go back to Patrick's tickle with queen d5. So,
yeah,
queen g6, bishop a6 felt bad, but I hadn't finished calculating all the choices. Let's follow that one a little further, actually, Jesse. Let's go queen g6, bishop a6, and just take it.
Take ba. Okay, queen c6.
Queen
I'm threatening d6.
And now the real problem is if I take on c2, you take on d6. Yeah, that's the problem. There's the rub.
There's the rub.
All right. That line was convincing. Bishop a6. Knight d8. There's bishop d3. Running home with your little extra pawn.
Got him.
Yeah. Okay. Queen here. What is the move?
He could go back, I guess, too. He could go still play bishop c4 now.
Yeah, he could still get this position. That's why I'm still looking at it. It's still relevant on top of all that. All right, let's try the move knight e5 in response to queen d5.
Yeah. That's annoying, I guess. All right, bishop f1.
Now queen g6.
Yeah, well played. I don't think I got nothing.
Okay, and life continues. We've survived the tickle. But honestly, under 5 minutes on my clock, I might have gone down to Patrick's tickle. One of the reasons Pruess shouldn't go under 5 minutes anymore.
Yeah, I still think bishop g1, my first instinct, and I think queen e5 is a question mark, but first of all, after bishop g1, queen e5, I don't have to play f4. It's just a thing. And I could also play bishop f2 still. And you could go marauding with queen h2, but you're not really doing nothing downstairs, as they say.
You play bishop f1 then?
Something like that, yeah.
Fair enough. Let's have a quick look at your f4 move.
Okay.
It's just,
Bishop G1. I'm a GM today. Thank you very much.
Good job, Jesse. Good job.
Now, one of the things I just want to say before we look at f4 is just to say that it's hard in time pressure for him to play queen e5 because then he has to calculate it. The other option for him is just to make some kind of building move, which is probably the smarter practical choice, right? So like king d7. Now, the point for white is if I play bishop f2, then I'm kind of sort of threatening f4, but only kind of sort of because I get that e4 thing the second you play f4.
Yeah, also there's there's a weird mechanism. I'm going to move back and forth once here to show it. Queen e7, bishop f2, queen e6, f4, g4 can sometimes be played anyway with the h-pawn hanging here. The point being if bishop h4, we win a pawn on h3. And if h-g4, bishop g4, now this thing's dangling. And so if bishop h4, we take on e2. If bishop trades, our queen ends up on a great square on g4. We don't have Fire Snap merch yet, Shirogorov, but I'm sure that the capitalists at Chess Dojo could be convinced to make some more pointless merch and put a sale on it for you too.
Yeah, David won't even wear our merch, dude.
I will not wear it, no.
Dude, come on, man. Wear some merch. King d7, I'm a GM today.
The clothing I wear is basically the clothing that comes to me for free, Jesse. So if somebody gave me a Chess Dojo shirt, I would wear it.
Let me ask you, your fancy French sweater, was that a gift, I'm going to guess, from somebody?
No, I found this on the street in a brocante, in a sort of a flea market. It was a good price, Jesse. I think it was like €5 new.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. No, the problem is like if I were to buy a normal t-shirt, Jesse, I would expect in the US to pay, I don't know, it's been a long time since I went into a clothing store or bought a piece of clothing, but I would expect to pay maybe $10 for a shirt if I walked into a store. Maybe. Ideally $5, but maybe $10. But if I order a Chess Dojo t-shirt, I have to get it shipped from that company, right? And it ends up costing something like $20 instead of $10. I'm not going to pay $20 for a shirt, you know? Can't be done. So I'm not against wearing the dojo clothing. I'm just against paying for it.
All right, so bishop e3 is played, and then one good virtue is if you play queen e5 or knight e5 now, then f4 is an advantage for me.
Sorry, say that again?
So now at least if you put any piece on e5, I can play f4 with some kind of improvement in my position. Meaning that you just kind of have to play a sitting move again.
Yeah, a lot of sitting. How do I get clothes? I mean, some of these clothes my mom bought for me when I was in high school. That's how I've got some of my clothes. And then I've got my partner complains that about half of my shirts are chess shirts. They're shirts that people gave me for free, all the chess shirts. So I didn't have to pay for them. Someone just gave me the shirt, said, "Here, wear my chess shirt." Because they'd put some logo on it for some chess something or other. Where else? When I'm in Hawaii, I buy like a board short every now and then. So I've got maybe 4 board shorts, which I use as swimming trunks and shorts.
Okay, my friends, we have some action. I thought knight e5 was not a great move because of f4, but I guess I'm missing something.
7 moves to go. Wei Yi with the stress-inducing 2 minutes on the clock in an otherwise stress-free position.
The 95 is kind of interesting. It stresses me out, but a story could be if F4, I play knight F7. No, yeah, I play knight F7. I don't even know about that. But on knight F7, then I say I'm still getting the E4 square, buddy.
Okay, and what about on F4 just taking it?
Well, I think bishop takes F4. White's achieved something.
Hang on, then I go bishop E4 again.
You're saying I haven't achieved
Well, I'm
anything.
not sure. I'm
Maybe.
just wanting to see your achievements with my own eyes.
I assume something like bishop F1. I don't know. Yeah, maybe even there you're fine. 95, so very provocative move and time pressure. The mill could go bad. The mill could go bad for Wei here.
So I guess you would play bishop F1.
And by the way, if I decide against all this, then bishop F1 now isn't a dumb move.
And then I
Because
would
then
have
it just
queen F5.
yeah. And so again, if we decide we don't like this for white, I think bishop F1 pronto is a good move.
So here, yeah, I think this doesn't look very good for white after queen F5, honestly. I don't see how to organize things in a good way because the bishops are both requiring protection somehow. Black pieces are all centralized. And, of course, no rook on c1. So yeah, I think F4 you can just take it, Jesse, and put the bishop on the nice long diagonal.
I hear you. So maybe just bishop F1 now.
Yeah.
I like it especially from a practical point of view because then it seems F4 is a threat, and then if you don't go back to C6, I might be able to wiggle in there somehow.
Yeah. There's a song where they just say wiggle, 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 wiggle. Yeah.
At some point,
it might have been about this game.
Black could play knight C5 at some point later. So if you imagine if we ever do a queen D4, maybe C5 isn't that dumb of a thing to do that. Put the pawns on dark squares as he's doing.
Right. And B6 and king up at some point.
Yeah. Well, at least we're going to get some moves played here.
Yeah. Live position is after 95, 7 moves to make for time control. And honestly, Esipenko doesn't even have that much time left himself.
No.
I mean, I don't know that he's spoiling for a fight in this position, despite the time advantage.
You gotta be dreaming about it here, bud. You're into the candidates if you win this game right here. It's over.
Yeah, I think he'd. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to see the posture to really read into it, but the moves don't feel like he's super committed to winning today.
No, the moves definitely don't feel that way. But still, put yourself in the situation. Even if you thought you were just aiming for a draw, you'd be like, "God, the guy's got 2.5 minutes left, bud. I got these 2 bishops. Got to try to do something."
Yeah.
Now, I am looking at his posture because I don't know where you watch it, but when I watch it on chess.com, they usually have a picture of the dudes there, the vid. And he looks really, really, he looks like he's on Xanax, actually, dude. Looks like he's just really relaxed.
Okay.
Yeah, dude. Imagine that. Buy your wife a Louis Vuitton purse, bros. How about that? Yeah, and Robin says, "You're gonna make your own clothes, bud? How about that? Have you ever made your own clothes?"
I think she would call some sort of psychological services if I bought a luxury item. Yeah, also those purses are ugly and she doesn't carry a purse. So I see what you're saying, Shirogorov. And I'll tell you what, I for shock value, I did buy her flowers once. And even though she doesn't love the idea of cut. Whoa, something's going on with my mic. She was shocked into saying it was a good thing.
All right, we got one repetition on the board.
Oh yeah, Queen
Queen
D4,
D4,
Knight
back and
C6,
forth.
Queen D2, Knight E5. Oh, I love it, love it.
So Wei Yi got some more time on the clock. Queen D4. Looks like they're headed for that draw, my friend. What a chump. So I just want to say the classical portion of this round just wasted.
Whew.
Just wasted. None of these people interested in fighting.
Oh, yeah.
Andrei Esipenko, beautiful position. But I'll tell you what, Mr. Bruce, let's go look at a couple key positions for white here.
See how beautiful it was, yeah.
If Rook C1 is a top engine move, then we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
we gotta
wants a
find a
top
new
engine
career.
move, that'll be the most exciting thing in chess history. C1. I'm going straight to that move. That's all I gotta know.
Okay, let's go straight to that move.
Okay, my engine needs more time. It hasn't found Rook C1 yet, but we'll give it a minute. There it is! Rook C1, top engine move.
What? Dude, expand your view so people can see it. Rook C1 is the top move.
Oh, it just took it away, but
What,
it showed
dude?
it for a second.
No, mine is showing it. It's not moving either. It's saying Rook C1, top engine move. What?
It's tied with A4 right now for me at 0.44.
I got a slightly better computer. Mine's at 0.43 Rook C1, top move. Rook A1, which makes at least some sense to me, 0.42, and A4 at 0.40. Dude.
How's that possible, Jesse?
You see, we need to make a vid out of this, bud. Rook C1.
What? 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 Oh, my thing's not showing it properly. So people can't even see that it's Rook C1. It's doing this thing where it like freezes the board view.
Uh-huh. Rook C1,
Like
buddy.
I play Bishop E3, does it show up? Yeah, it does. Okay.
Wow, he thinks for 16 minutes. It is so bizarre.
Let's see if now it'll show Rook C1 again properly. Did I refresh the thing? Okay. So now it's back on. It's going to take a while to find it, folks. My computer starts with A4, Rook A1, but look there, you can see it creeping up. It showed up as the third line for a moment. If you keep waiting, my computer eventually picks Rook C1.
Mm-hmm. And again, David's got a weaker computer, and I can tell you that on the stronger computer, it is coming up instantly. It's not wavering. It's Rook C1.
What on earth is this? What on earth? Actually, we should put it like this so you can see our shocked expressions. Otherwise, it's not...
yeah, dude. Yeah.
You don't need to see what follows after Rook C1.
Rook C1. You know, I'm really not accusing the guy of cheating, but it's almost like when somebody plays a deep engine move and it's so weird to be like, well, is someone feeding you Rook C1? Like, how in your human thought process did you come up with Rook C1?
Yeah, I mean, somebody's got to ask him, like, what is Rook C1?
And like, why? Okay, so I got a question. Why does the computer like is there a problem with A4? Like, let's say you just wanted to sit, you want to play A4. Okay, so let's just think about this for a second. The computer on A4 wants Queen G6. And then you know what it wants? It wants Rook C1.
But then you can't. Oh. Okay.
It also likes Rook B1. It likes Rook A1. Oh, I don't understand, bruv.
So then it goes like Rook E1, Bishop E1, Rook E8, Bishop back to F2. Sorry, was it Queen F2 better for some reason? Rook A1 better?
Just sitting. All right, I got another question, Mr. Pruess. 21, on move 21, what is it like? It doesn't like Bishop F2. So, in a lot of ways, I think Bishop F2 is the weenie move that throws away a lot of it. It doesn't like it's not suggesting my Bishop G1. Of course, it still likes my position after Bishop G1, but it's
About
not
the same.
finding like any weird Queen F2 ideas, which was my whole thing.
So our evaluation wasn't too off, right? Like I think you had 0.4 here and I had 0.3.
Yeah, our evaluation wasn't off, but like evaluating Rook C1, we're
I'm a
just
little
like
surprised by
completely
that too
wrong.
because I thought the computer was going to tell us hold your horses. It's not that big a deal because I'm just getting so used to being wrong, right? Because every game we think something's going on and then we go back and check it and the computer's like, oh, it was always between minus 0.05 and plus 0.15.
Okay, so let's cruise through the rest of the game a little bit. So A4, Rook E5, top move. Rook E2 isn't the top move, but it's not like it ruins anything. Rook DE8, Rook CE1, Rook A7, Bishop G1. Right, so the position after Queen E6, 29 Queen E6, it still is about the same, like 0.3 for white. So maybe spoiled it a little bit, but it's not so bad.
From 0.4 to 0.3.
Yeah.
And Bishop G1 got played? No.
It thought Bishop E3 was weird, wanted my simple Bishop F2. I could have told him that. 95 exclam. And actually, after 95, it's dipping it down now to 0.2. And on Queen D4, we're just good. It says Knight G6 is equal, and Knight C6 is still a small advantage for white. Very, I think, terrible not to play on in the final position, dude. You know, you are better. You're not risking anything. Just put your bishop back on F2 and play some moves. You know, your opponent's got less time.
But he's been playing moves for 2 hours without a plan, right? I think. I don't know. Like, the computer's not telling me what white's plan should have been either, right? It's just telling me that it's always better for white. I think Esipenko could tell us that as well, but he doesn't see a plan. Wow.
I'm gonna have Rachel create a short vid for us. This was the first time I've asked her to do a short vid, and we'll see how she does. A short vid where you capture our reaction to what was this? 22 Rook C SC Penko.
So Dripman, we haven't been able to understand anything, so the engine didn't like explain per se. It did say Rook C1 was a good move. We still don't know why. The variations are just they move back and forth for so many moves, right? And I think you have some experience looking at how the computer variations play out. Like very often anything happening that a human can understand is so many moves down the variation that you can't you can't see it without playing out tons and tons of moves. Yeah, we just don't know.
I guess one of the things that's wild, Mr. Pruess, I think if I was going to put a story onto it, it's the claim that since black can't do anything, it doesn't actually matter whether it's C1, B1, or A1. It doesn't, which is weird because from a human perspective, I think we both feel that A4 is a good building move. From the computer's perspective, I think it thinks it's just basically, just you're not doing much with A4. And it's true. It's not like there's some follow-up after A4, right? It's just a natural place to put the pawn.
Yeah.
So it's a position where, like, the computer sees the natural advantages to white's position. Before rook c1, it's showing me 0.48 for white. It's now actually gravitated towards rook a1 being 0.3 better, but it's basically the same thing.
0.03, right?
0.03 better, yeah. So we've seen a lot of positions too in the past. Well, everybody has, where you're analyzing with the computer and it says that you're better, but it doesn't give you any concrete line, right? This is a little similar to that, where it's just sitting and saying, well, what do you want to do to me?
Yeah. Jesse, here's a moment maybe we can talk about. Move 20. Patrick wanted to play f4 to try to prevent black from playing g5, right? But you had reservations about giving up the e4 square.
Yeah, right? But actually, yeah, the computer, that's top move.
But the computer likes f4 a little bit more than f3 for your stronger computer, or what?
Yeah. And it's saying it does follow, though, with what I'm sure Esipenko was worried about, which is the natural bishop f5 immediately. That was also my concern. Then it's saying bishop f2. And then it's coming up with a very frisky g5, which, oh my God.
Well, white's threatening to just take that pawn, right?
Well, when we looked at this position, we, of course, didn't consider g5, but g5 is tactically based on a bishop c2 discovery at the end of all that.
Oh, right. We didn't have this exact position. But yeah, I mean, g5 takes, queen takes, bishop c2, saving the game.
And so it feels that it's gone down to 0.62, and it wants, honestly, after g5, it just wants a4. So it's still just basically sitting on the position.
This isn't massively different than the game.
The human reservation is clear, is that the e4 square gets to be a thing. And it doesn't dramatically drop the eval, right? But it is the top engine move. Actually, the top engine move after bishop e6 is a4. And what's cool about a4, actually, is you could say, well, I'm reserving the right to play either f3 or f4. But honestly, it just transposes. It's saying a4, bishop f5, and still wants f4.
So after a4, it gives you the same position. It plays bishop f5.
But by the way, it's a little... But it
also says black could play g5 immediately after a4.
Mine isn't saying g5. It's saying on g5, it's saying f4, which by human ways would not be a good move because it's allowing g4. But this guy's just saying hg, bishop g4, and then the famous rook a1. That says it's an advantage for white, but it's not over by any means.
Yeah. Amazing.
Also, Mr. Pruess, earlier, castles, Queen D7. Right. Bishop E2 was not on the radar as a top move, and it wants knight G5, saying white's a touch better. Actually, it's also saying king B1, white's a touch better. H4, white's a touch better. But all right, bishop E2, it sinks the eval a little bit for white, but doesn't change it too much. Castles, and now it actually wants like rook HE1 or knight D4. We, of course, saw knight G5. And the computer wants H6 there. It does not like bishop G5.
Bishop F5.
No, it wants H6 after knight G5.
Okay, because it doesn't want bishop F5.
It doesn't want bishop F5. Well, you can't do bishop F5 because of knight F7.
Okay, so he played bishop G5. Okay, G5. So you're saying H6, knight E6, and queen E6 is the computer's preference. It wants the bad bishop, not the good bishop.
And it wants bishop G5 next move. And that's its dirty.
Against everything.
Against everything. That's a dirty trick. There.
There's no move that stops it from breaking up the bishop pair here because of the bishop on E2. Let's try rook HE1 for a second. Queen A2. Right. Okay, so it'll probably be similar with H4, right? There will be queen A2.
Yeah, you got to play king B1, and then bishop G5 comes.
So king B1, bishop G5.
Got him. That's a continuation. That's a very nice continuation.
Dude, that would have ended the game much faster if he just found that on move 11. I gotta say, like H6, that would have been the end of the game.
Oh man, H6, that's a nice move.
Yeah, you just
all right. So bishop
A2 and then
bishop G5 really, yeah, that just assumes position here. I feel because white's definitely better.
Okay, so that's what made some drama out of that opening, so to speak. I mean, it wasn't super dramatic, but...
Oh, also, I want to see if the computer likes H5 and Queen F7. So it's talking about rook D8 first, but H5 is actually its third best move.
Where H5?
Move 13.
Okay, sorry.
Because remember, I was also like H5, Queen F7. I wasn't wholly sold on that.
Mm-hmm.
But we have H5, B3, and now Queen F7 is not a top move, but it doesn't sink the position dramatically in any way. And that's where white thought forever to play bishop B5, which isn't on the computer's radar. The computer wants either the natural rook HE1 or king B2. It's good to know that in some positions I can play just as good as the computer. When it comes to just the simple moves, buddy, I could do that better than wasting time on bishop B5. Come on now. Now, the issue with bishop B5, by the way, is the computer saying he could even play queen G6 and taking on C6 is actually a mistake. Now, that would be a hardcore thing for a human to do, to play queen G6 here. That would be very hardcore. Wow. You'd have to have some cojones to play that, queen G6.
Yeah.
The computer also, though, feels bishop D7 is fine. Rook HE1. Rook DE8. It likes rook DE8 a touch better. It basically evaluates them the same. But I understand rook DE8.
Yeah.
You want to keep your rook behind the pawn. King B2. A6, fine. Bishop F1, fine. H4. Doesn't like H4 that much. And it's actually saying here, we were thinking, and Esipenko also felt that H3 was a given, but it's also talking about F3 with the intention that on H3 we play G4, trying to say that your pawn on H3 is a weak coconut.
And trying not to lose control of the white squares.
Right. Okay. It doesn't change the evaluation that much, though. It's saying 0.39, and after H3, it still likes white fine, 0.4. So H3, bishop E6. I wonder if it liked, no, it didn't like bishop E6. Bishop E6, we both felt was a little weird. But the reason it doesn't like bishop E6 is because of the move we talked about a little second ago, which was this F4 business.
Gotcha.
Well, Mr. Pruess, even though there's a lot about this tournament that I don't like, I definitely enjoy our analysis, and I like
Yeah.
doing this post computer thing too to kind of test our assumptions on how what we were thinking about the position. I think 20 F4 is a nice. I think F3 is definitely, honestly, even if I knew that the computer liked F4 better, I'd still probably play F3.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still interesting that the computer is like, I'll give you the E4 square, right? He's like, I'll just give you the E4 square, and you'll have to wonder more about H4 and the E4 square in and of itself, no big deal.
Yeah, I think it's very, very position specific. Like whether or not e4 becomes more or less of a problem than h4 could change from move to move. If we put the black king on b8 or the white pawn on a3 or something, it might change it.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you imagine F4, that for the computer, everything becomes concrete, right? So bishop F5, if we play bishop F2, it doesn't even, it's like bishop F2, I'm not even sure I want it because then black can play G5.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like on bishop F5, it's like, well, now we'll just calmly play A4.
Yeah.
Just calmly play A4.
All right, folks. Well, that was the semifinals. They will be playing some rapid and or blitz games tomorrow. These fellows here. Somebody asked me which of these four people, or asked us which of these four people is likely to be the odd one out. To me, the odds are about 25% for each of the four. It's all just coin flips from here.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe Jesse will accompany you on the rapid games tomorrow. I will be back for the classical chess the day after tomorrow.
Yep. Oh, so you are going to do it. You are going to do it.
For the finals, the classical?
Yeah. Okay, cool. I mean, honestly, it's the third place game that's the interesting one, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, bro. Good talking to you.
That's it for us for today, folks. Be well, and we'll see you soon.